What is up? What is up, good people? What's up, good people? Let me make sure that we can be heard. Make sure that I can be heard. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure you hit the like button, whether you're catching it live or you're catching it after it's uploaded. Definitely got a good one for you today. Got a good one laid out for you today. Shout out to Al Boogie. Said he likes it. He said, "Nah, that thumbnail is hilarious, and it got levels to it too." LMAO. Yeah. I thought I was a little, just a little creative with that thumbnail. But no, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody in the building. Like I said, make sure you hit the like button, whether you're catching it now or you're catching it after it's uploaded. We're gonna be further talking about the the Umar Johnson situation. The somebody called her a trans gentleman. That was funny. The trans gentleman clapped back at him. So I do want to look at what you said. There's a lot of things telling in there. And Marvel is pretty much going down the drain. Thanos was right. they should have all just stayed. Thanos snapped. You got Meg the Stallion. They got Meg the Stallion on the She-Hulk show twerking. Twerking with She-Hulk. It's Marvel characters twerking now. Like that's where it has devolved to. Strike and sisterhood culture has totally infiltrated the MCU. So we're about to be getting into all of that. So strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What is up? What's going on, good people? What's going on, good people? We are back. We are back in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you for coming on through. Still dotting I's and crossing T's because y'all know I ain't never ready. I ain't never ready, but the show must go on. The show must go on. About to shout out the early bird squad, those that make it in bright and early. What the hell is that happening there? What the hell is going on here? Trying to fix something. Don't mind me. All right. But yeah, got a number of things to get into. They already limited that one. Got a number of things to get into today, but let's go ahead and get into it. Give me 1 second. All right. Had to dot some I's and cross some T's and make sure some systems were working properly before we dug into the show. What you see on the screen behind me have something that I was watching. A situation where another man cried on a panel. Going to be covering that tomorrow. And I got an interesting take on that. But Shout out to Logan JJ in the building, coming through, sliding into first. Shout out to Al Boogie, who acknowledged the brilliance of the thumbnail, but he said, "Nah, that thumbnail is hilarious and it got levels to it." Absolutely, absolutely. Shout out to Lord Love Smith. Shout out to you. Shout out to Osman Diaz Fletcher in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. Shout out to Winthrop in the building. TD Hutch, Woke Quill, Red Scorpion, Eric the Red, January Man. Shout out to January Man, Dame C, Uneducated Lane. He says, no homeos looking slim, my brother. Oh, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's the shirt. Sometimes it's the shirt. Yeah, I had to clean my beard up, man. It was getting a little, still ain't perfect. Still ain't perfect. Still, it's like it's a little Anthony Hamilton like going on right there. This side a little cleaner, but I did have to line it up and make it. I did have to line it up and make it right. My beard was lacking. It's still a little too nappy under here. I can't never get it to act all the way right. I'm trying to beard max, as the incel community says. I'm out here. I'm out here beard maxing. Out here beard maxing on them, but you know. But shout out to Malcolm in the Middle, 87 in the building. Do appreciate you coming on through with the super chat. Do appreciate you coming on through with the super chat. And Al Boogie, hey, your beard game strong in that picture too. Your beard game strong in that picture too. He says he said I need that pencil line up. Like I cut my own hair and stuff, but I ain't no professional. I need to probably watch some YouTube videos and get a little more technique. You probably need to watch some YouTube videos, get a little more technique, but I can do the basics. I can line myself up and you know, and put on the guard and just taper it, just make it more or less even all the way around, probably fade it just a pinch right here, and then just get the liner clippers and just go all the way around. I mean, it's actually easy to cut hair. I mean, I'm shocked more people don't do it themselves, but you know, it's kind of easy to do it. I ain't no professional, but I get the job done. I get the job done. It's easier to do it than what you think. But we're about to get into a number of things today. We're about to be talking. Somebody had mentioned in the chat room said I missed Meg Thee Stallion talking to Hillary Clinton, which I didn't. I didn't miss that. I touched on it. I actually put it in the thumbnail, but didn't talk about it that much. And I'll kind of skip it over that because her twerking with She-Hulk is a little more interesting to me. It's a little bit more interesting to me because listen, we talk a lot in this space. We do talk a lot in this space about how the negative aspects of Black culture, how they get celebrated, they leak over into everything. We talk a lot about that, but now this is an interesting thing. And now y'all keep in mind, me as a content creator, I watch a lot of stuff, so y'all won't have to. So I like bit the bullet and watched the first episode of She-Hulk. I watched the first episode of She-Hulk. Lots of feminist propaganda. Lots of feminist propaganda. The basic it's called She-Hulk Attorney at Law. It's called She-Hulk Attorney at Law. She was a lawyer. She was a cousin to Bruce Banner. If you read the comics, you probably know some of the story. I didn't grow up on the comics. Yes, Lord Love Smith, I do agree. She-Hulk is trash. I do agree. She-Hulk is trash. But I watch it so y'all won't have to. All right. Well, I'm not watching no more of it. I saw all I need to see. I saw all I need to see. Yeah, Uneducated Lane. Their writing is horrible. I saw all I needed to see. There were some aspects of the first episode that was okay, you know, her because they had Bruce Banner in on the first episode and they basically just got rid of him. But they had to have Bruce Banner in there to tell the story of how she became the She-Hulk. So they told that story and fine. So okay, she's off on an island with Bruce Banner, you know, Professor Hulk, and she became the She-Hulk due to some freak accident where his blood got contaminated in her blood from a car accident, blah blah blah. So he's off on an island with her, and he was like, "There's no reversing it. You can turn into a big, mean, green, angry Hulk. You have to learn to manage that. I spent 15 years working on managing that and controlling that. And he had a whole syllabus on, he's basically, I'm going to teach you how to do everything. But it turns out that he didn't need to teach her nothing because, the what do they call it? The Peggy Sue? No, the what do they call that when the woman in a movie, and it's typically in a superhero movie, she's just good at everything. He said Hawk AIDS, man, stop. Like, he had to learn everything. He had to learn how to manage it. He had to go through all kind of, trauma, trials and tribulations, and oh wait, shoot, hold on, I didn't mean to do that. Trials and tribulations, and hurt a lot of people that he cared about, had to separate from people that he cared about because he didn't want to turn into a green hawk monster and hurt them and all kind of stuff like that. It took him forever to fully master that, being a hawk. But she got it like that. She was like, no, this is easy. I can turn into a hawk. I can turn back down. And when I turn, I'm not a raging, raw monster. I'm good. But the reason that they gave, and this was the reason, because she was a lawyer. Oh, Mary Sue. Thank you. She was a lawyer beforehand. Okay. And she said, I'm good at managing my anger because I have to manage my anger every day as a woman when a man on the job is trying to explain to me explain to me aspects of the job that I'm a professional at, that I have to manage my emotions all the time when I'm dealing with microaggressions, when men catcall me, or when they say things to me. I have to manage my anger all the time. That's what she said. That was basically the reason why when the hawk, when he turned into the hawk, he's a mean raging monster and he can't control sometimes. Well, he used to couldn't control sometimes when he did it, but she could control how she did it because, well, she's a woman and women have to manage their emotions all the time. Otherwise, they'll get viewed as just angry, emotional women. So when she's out in the world dealing with men on her job and all the microaggressions and everything that everybody is saying to her, I'm trained. I'm better than you at this because I had to train my whole life to manage my emotions in this world of evil men. Like that. So that's the reason why she could just walk around regular and just, turn into a hawk when she want to and bring it down when she want to, because she's been hiding emotions her whole life because she's a woman. And now the messed up part about that is that she's saying that to Bruce Banner, who, I mean, the hell and the trauma that he went through, all of that stuff. I mean, he basically saved the world. Like, you're talking to the man who put on the glove and did this, risked his life and did the snap. Okay, I'm trying to the snap. I can't snap with my left. Can y'all snap with y'all left? I can barely do that. I can snap hard with my right hand, but I can't snap with my left hand. So I tried to do a snap, but like if I had a left-handed Thanos, if I had a left-handed Infinity Gauntlet, and I had to do a Thanos snap to save the world, but it was a left-handed Infinity Gauntlet, I couldn't even bring everybody back. If I had a left-handed Infinity Gauntlet. If that thing ain't right-handed, if you give me a right-handed Infinity Gauntlet, I can save the universe. A left-handed one, I cannot snap my finger. Hold on. There it go. Whew, the world will get saved, but I can just barely snap my fingers with my left hand. Anyway, back at it. He said I would have killed myself. I would have been got so frustrated trying to snap with a left-handed Infinity Gauntlet. I'd been a motherfucker. Oh shit! Then it worked at the wrong time when I'm cussing myself out. I've been told the gauntlet to snap me out. But anyway, but yeah. So she's saying all that to Bruce Banner. The man in attempts to save the world, he got his ass whipped by Thanos. He lost so much. He ended up on Ragnarok, stuck in the Hawk body for a whole 2 years, and then came back from that, got his ass whipped by Thanos, and was the man who had the courage. I mean, kind of, he was the only one that could do it because what is it, gamma something? I forgot what was flowing through his veins, gamma radiation, or I don't know. He was technically the only one that could do it, but I mean, hell, you saw it killed Iron Man. This man, but he saved the world. Saved the world. He probably got Thanos snapped, and is this the man who risked it all to bring you back, and you giving him a lecture about how you deal with microaggressions? Like that shit was actually happening in the show. But her dealing with all those microaggressions and men thinking that she's not good enough as a lawyer to operate on her job and do this and that, and she just has to control her anger and manage her emotions, and that's how she's able to control being a hawk. That was it. That was the story. She can control being a hawk, and he can't because she's a woman in a man's world. So she has to control her anger all the time. Like I was like, wow, like they went all the way there with it. And it was a couple of other scenes. It was a couple of other scenes that was more or less along the lines of, some men came to harass her. It's like that goes back to what I think Uneducated Lame said. The writing is bad because it was some situations where some stereotypical goons in the alley came to bother her. The type of men that the purple hair feminists think that all men are like. They would like, the writing was that bad that they just cast them directly as that. It was some weird goofy stuff in there, but all the way down the line, like I'd already stopped watching the show because I just watched one episode, for took one for the team, watched one episode, took one for the team, and then I found out through online that this feminist pro womanist Marvel TV show, you know, they had Meg Thee Stallion on there. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. Now her part was small. Her part was small. I will say that. Her part was very small. But this, my friends, hold on. This was basically a cut scene at the end. This was basically a cut scene at the end. And when you're watching this, when you're watching this scene, keep in mind the levels to it. Okay. This really is a female empowerment show. If you look up the Hulk, let me get that off the screen because you're about to see him twerking in real time. But let me get this off the screen. Now, if you look up the Hulk, now, if you look up She-Hulk, I'm sorry. If you look up She-Hulk, the earliest iteration of her, she was like a really sexy woman that turned like she a really sexy woman that turned green and got even a little more got a little more curvier, a little more sexy, maybe a lot more sexier, but with a splash of tone, maybe a little too toned for my taste. But at the end of the day, the niche with her that made her sell is that she was just a really super attractive, sexy woman. It's sort of like the same Wonder Woman thing. Like Wonder Woman's badass and she could kick ass and the whole works. She's all that, but at the end of the day, the Amazons were sexy as hell. Unlike the Amazons in the Woman King, which I now I don't know if I'm gonna watch that one. I don't know if I'm gonna watch. I don't know if I'm gonna do the I watched it so y'all won't have to type of deal with Woman King or Wakanda Forever. I gotta do the protest non-watch. But but keep in mind the way that they marketed She-Hulk before was the same way that they marketed Wonder Woman. She was just a sexy as cartoon Marvel comic book character. That's what she was. A sexy ass. She turned green but stayed sexy. She turned green but stayed sexy and kicked a lot of ass. That's what she was. Now they found a woman who's not ugly, but just not a super attractive, sexy woman. They took all that away, and they're going with the female empowerment, inspire the young girls, and she's waving her fist against man world and everything that women are oppressed with. Like that's sort of that's the angle they're going with it. They replaced something that men want to look at, and they took something that men like to look at and replaced it with something that women want to hear to basically, medicate their preconceived notions. Basically, that's what they more or less did with this. But in the framework of female empowerment and a lot of feminist ideals, and she's a lawyer, she's a woman, and she's dealing with men who are sexist, and they're giving all the microaggressions, and she got to manage her anger and frustration with all that within the framework and schema of all that. Also, I guess her and Meg the Stallion twerking is a element of that empowerment that this that this show is pushing against or fighting against. So here we go. And this was a cut scene at the end. I will give them credit that they didn't put this right into the main plot. But the episode that Meg the Stallion was on, they did make a little cut scene at the end, like, the little end credit scenes. And here it is. Fair use, fair use.
Just your signature there. And then just initial. Good. And initials up here.
But they still want to know we're making it.
He almost tasted that. Num, eat it up. Go play okay, 3, 2, 1. You know I'm the hottest. You ain't never gotta heat me up.
Oh, you are way more fun than my last lawyer.
I will kill for you, Megan Thee Stallion.
Dial it back.
Body, yaddy,
All right. Yeah, so that happened. Now let's keep in mind, and when I break down movies, I always take a step back and explain this. Okay, there's a writer's room. Somebody has to come up with the idea. Somebody has to, write it out. And after they write it out, they write out the script. Then basically it has to get approved by quite a few people. All right. Once it get approved at that level, then it goes to the director. Okay. I mean, basically they're filming and shooting. And so in the whole process of directing and shooting it, and after they did all the directing and they shot it and everything, and then it went to like basically the team of editors, and they did all the editing. Like what I'm trying to say, that this shit touched the hands of like 200 people. It touched the hands of at least 200 people. And nowhere in that process did anybody stop and say, you know what? What are we doing here? What? Like nobody caught it. Like, wait a minute. Wait. Is this where we at? We just had the most epic, thing ever going on with Infinity Wars and Endgame and the Thanos snap. Like that shit was brilliant. It's like they peaked, and we understand that they can't top that. They probably, I don't know what they're going to do to ever get back to that level where they was at there. We understand that. We understand that it's difficult. The fucking what was it? Loki was real good. It was a few other things that they did that was pretty good, but everything is lackluster compared to what happened in Endgame. Everything is lackluster compared to what happened in Endgame. It was a few things that they did. It's a few things they did since then that was pretty good, but it all just seemed very micro, very just insignificant to the. It's like the stakes was so high in Infinity Wars and Endgame, they can never capture that amount of drama or anticipation. Like they can't recapture that, and we get it, and I don't even expect them to. But this shit, it's like this where y'all going? It's like, what in the hell? Like, what in the hell? And then they like, shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson. He said you don't stop making Superman movies when holy shit, I forgot the name of the original Superman. Help me out. Yeah, somebody said She-Hulk got a BBL. Actually, whoever made this picture kind of did the little Photoshop thing and gave her more ass than what was really there. They blew it up and gave her more ass. But but he said she got a BBL. Christopher Reeves. Y'all didn't even tell me in the chat. No, I meant the original character. I mean, the original actor. Okay, somebody finally said it. Y'all sat there and made me remember, but I had to remember before y'all said it in the chat room. Y'all know I don't like to remember shit. But yeah, shout out to Dr. T. Johnson. He said, you don't what did he say? You don't stop making Superman movies because Christopher Reeve died or got in a wheelchair. That was a funny ass Chris Rock joke. Superman can't walk. What kind of shit is that? We could put a man on the moon, but Superman can't walk. But yeah, those that don't know, Christopher Reeves did get paralyzed. I think he fell off a horse or something like that. But yeah, so they're killing T'Challa. T'Challa, one of the most interesting, highest grossing characters in the MCU. They're basically they probably, what are they going to give him, an off-screen death? Thor was a whole nother. That was one that I watched. I didn't watch at the movies, but I caught it after a while. I caught it when it, I caught it on Disney Plus. I ain't gonna, I got Disney Plus. I don't pay for the Disney Plus account, but I use somebody else's account to investigate. I use somebody else's account to investigate what's going on in Disney, because I know when me and Hood Server covered the what do they call it? The not so secret gay agenda. It used to be a secret gay agenda in Disney, but now it's what they call a not so secret gay agenda. Like, they put it out there, like, nigga, this is what we doing. They literally said, we're going to flood and smuggle as much gay shit as we can in every movie associated with Disney. So in the Disney movie, shoot, y'all, I'm so bad with character names. What was the chick named? The light-skinned chick. She played in Creed. She was, Michael B. Jordan's girlfriend in Creed, and she's one of the she's from Ragnarok. Y'all know who I'm talking about. What was her name? Valkyrie? Is that it? No. Anyway, long story short, that character, y'all know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. I cannot think of her name. Tessa Thompson is her real name. Valkyrie is the character's name. So yeah, Tessa Thompson's character, they made her gay. It was a stone character dude that was, one of Thor's guys. They had that be gay. It was like they were just plugging in just gay on top of gay on top of gay. It was like, those, I guess, like, they just randomly, arbitrarily made 2 out of the 4 main characters gay. They do that late in the game. They just random. It's very random and plugged in, and it's getting weird when the ratios of gay people that you see in movies outnumber the ratios that you see in real life. It's getting to that point. But yeah, see, that part I didn't even know. But so they did that, and they, in the most ridiculous, arbitrary way, sort of like the same way they made Trinity the one in the Matrix. They just made a late to the party. Let's rewrite something into the history that wasn't there originally in some way, somehow. Make Thor's old girlfriend, that was played by Natalie Portman. Let's just make her basically Thor. Mjolnir was calling her, so she just Thor's broken hammer called out to her, and she was able to summon it and make it come back together and could do some powers with it that Thor never could do. It's like, in a most arbitrarily, poorly written way, they just plug that in there, just like how they just smuggled in some concocted story to make Trinity the one in the Matrix. It's like they're doing weird shit at the expense of good writing and good storytelling, and it manifests itself once you go all the way that route. Now you got She-Hulk twerking with Meg Thee Stallion. Wow. I be up on that. I don't be up on all that. You said she and Janelle Monáe just broke up. Wow. See, you didn't know all of that. But that's how it be, and that's what be going on, and that literally happened. What you're seeing on the to the oh, it's in reverse. I was about to say to the left of me, but it's in reverse, so I'm pointing. Okay. Anyway, what y'all seeing on the screen to the left of me, like that happened. Like that happened. They had Meg Thee Stallion in there twerking with a Marvel character, like that. That literally happened. The and this is like I said, a very pro feminist womanist TV show where I already broke down why, but it gets weird because we talk about politics here, but I talk about it more from the standpoint of being a, a culture warrior. I wear that tag proudly. You know, we always talk about how all the things and the events that happened, regarding or in and around the second wave of feminism ultimately produced some of the most unmarriageable women ever to walk the earth. And that's sort of what led the Black manosphere, or the manosphere in general, to come into existence. That's sort of what led the manosphere to come into existence. And now this manosphere has came into existence, and now we're looking at these women, and we can see that there's obviously a party that's that's at least publicly in favor of supporting, enabling, subsidizing the modern woman. There's clearly a party in favor of that, and it's clearly out of, as a conservative or liberal, there's clearly the liberal are the ones that's all the things that are the problems that cause the manosphere to come into existence. The liberals are typically the ones who celebrate all of that shit. They celebrate it all. Everything that we criticize, the liberals, it's a lot of liberals who celebrate and consider it to be a good thing, and they vote Democrat. And to the whole political debate that goes on in here, and I freely admit I'm no policy expert. I freely admit I'm no policy expert, but I do know this. I do know this from a pure cultural standpoint. If I want to break down the reason why the manosphere even came into existence, is based off the actions and behaviors of the women, and their actions and behaviors are subsidized and enabled by certain things that went on, yes, socially on the ground, but politically from the top down. I, as a Black man with my views, can't justify voting with them. I can't. I can't. You show me a policy on the table that will help Black men, I don't care if it's a Democrat or a Republican that put that policy forth. I'll vote for it if I think it'll help Black men. But overall, on the whole, yes, I am a right of center culture warrior. And I'm sort of responding to a conversation that almost happened but didn't happen on somebody else's channel. I'm a right of center culture warrior who identifies and sees the problem with things. Identify and see the problems with things going on in the culture. And I know, rather liberal or conservative, I know which side celebrates those problems, and I know what political side does more to enable those problems. So for that reason, I vote in the opposite direction. I did want to get that out. We're in a rock and a hard place, because when you start voting, more conservative, more Republican, then now instead of standing with a bunch of purple-haired feminists, you're standing next to some racists. You can either vote with some racists or vote with some purple-haired feminists. That's just like that's our options as Black men. Black men, we are politically a man without a country. I get it. But it's no easy answer on that. We in a rock and a hard place. But shout out to those of you that are contributing to the stream. About to get into the Dr. Umar aspect of this. But Malcolm in the Middle 87 says, salute Bernard. Shout out to you. Leo Anthony in the building. He says, even with video games, they have it now to where they're always an option to choose a male or female hero counterpart there in everything. Now, I don't really mind that. I grew up on Tomb Raider. So if it's like a game where you like most of the games you create yourself. Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on what kind of games you're talking about. But a lot of the games, I got no problem with that. That's not an issue. That's not an issue for me. You know. I grew up Laura Tomb Raider, Laura Croft. Yeah, that was pretty cool, and I dug it. So I don't just take an issue with that. Oh, it's women there doing it. It's if you unnecessarily go out your way to narc male characters or add feminist and and LGBTQ propaganda into stories that otherwise were good stories, or movies that would otherwise be good movies, or TV shows that would otherwise be good TV shows. And if you elevate a woman in some weird arbitrary way that don't even make sense to the plot, like no, like you had to be worthy to lift Mjolnir. Like Thor could lift it. He was a god, and Captain America could lift it. What made her able to lift it? Like seriously. Seriously. Y'all saw all the Avengers there trying to lift it, and they couldn't. So what was it about? What was it about her? An okay character that, I mean, no, it's like, so that's what we're talking about there. If it's just very arbitrary and doesn't even logically make sense, sort of like how in Star Wars, how with no training, no nothing, she just out the blue just was I'm so bad remembering characters. Rey, how Rey was just so good at everything right from the jump, just good at everything right from the jump. They tried to clean it up in the last one by saying she was a Palpatine. That was actually a way of trying to clean that up, but that wasn't their plan from the start. They just wanted to make the Mary Sue. Things that Jedis had to spend a life training to learn. She just showed up and just was automatically doing it. No training in the Force or with a lightsaber, and she just went and battled a Sith. It's like that's when creating if they had a female character who was brought up in the Jedi temple and was trained like Anakin and grew up and could kick ass, and then okay, that makes sense within the framework of the plot of what the story. So it's like they're just taking a piss on aspects of the story to just elevate a chick. That's where it gets weird. That's where it gets weird. Black Wolf Inc. in the building says, down with Megan, the male horse. Her music is garbage. She danced like a mule on Molly, and she looks like a clown with that makeup. And She-Hulk sucks. Yes. Even though I won't say she dances like a mule. I don't know. What did you say? She dances like a mule on a Molly. I wouldn't say that. There's one particular video of her. Never mind. It's a particular video of her twerking. She know how to pop her ass. I ain't gonna take that from her. But anyway, not that that's just a skill that you win a goddamn Nobel Prize for or anything. I mean, it's pretty rudimentary stuff that human females can twerk their ass. Like it's a thing. Like it's not nothing you write home about. But I'm not going to take that away from her. That this basic thing that human women can do. She can do it. Golden Child 325 in the building says these women want to do what they want and act any old type of way in public. The problem arises when they want responsible men to clean up the mess. Here. I totally 100% agree with that. Totally 100% agree with that. All right, here's the deal. Let me go ahead and get to this. Y'all hit the like button. We got to get into this. Doctor, I covered it. I couldn't find this at first, but y'all know I covered it when Dr. Umar Johnson was on the panel with Cynthia G. One of them got like 11,000 views, doing real well. I covered that, and here's the deal. The big takeaway, other than Umar Johnson and Cynthia G having a back and forth that I know a lot of people wanted to see, is that when they smuggled the trans gentleman, as somebody called it, when they smuggled a trans gentleman onto the show. I shouldn't even say smuggled, but they didn't tell Umar, and he had a problem with that. It understandably so, but I mean it's kind of his own fault, because he does that thing where he beautiful black queens and princesses, and so he's sitting there and got cold busted calling a trans gentleman a beautiful black queen. And so this was his response to it. Now, the most important part and the interesting part about this is that she responded to him. She responded back to him. And that part I didn't see until yesterday. I think it happened yesterday when she clapped back at him. So I'm gonna play his original response so we can get to her response. So let's go.
Panel with a surgically altered black man. Because if I would have knew that I was on a panel with a surgically altered black man, if I would have knew that I was on a panel with a surgically altered black man.
Real quick, before we hear what he's saying, his description of that is very accurate. Because even if we still man their argument and understand that, you know, sex is your anatomy, what you got between your legs, and whether you got ovaries or not, that's your sex, but your gender, per their argument, is something that goes on up here, and different people are born with different biochemical reactions, and what they actually are versus what they perceive themselves to be are two different things. And that's so even though you're in the body of a man, your mind tells you that you're a woman. Some people will call that what's the word? Schizophrenic or crazy. Some people call that crazy, but they're saying that there's some science. I ain't even gonna get into that. Still mad in their argument. It's something going on up here that tells them that they're like we was talking about the Matrix. Their digital self-image. they have a different digital self-image. Put it like that. That's still manning their argument. But all intents and purposes, they are still literally 100% biologically what they were born as, and then they have to surgically alter themselves. So all intents and purposes, his description was it was accurate. It was accurate. It's a surgically altered man presenting as a woman. That's literally what it is. And to the extent that they are not, that is something only going on in their mind. Something only going on in their mind. And it may be the case that they just can't snap their finger and think differently. They're probably going to spend their whole life, whatever this problem is that they have, they're probably going to spend their whole life with that problem. And like what Ben Shapiro said, I hope they get, the help that they need. I hope they get the help that they need, because it is a problem if they're walking around thinking and truly believing that they're inwardly something that they're outwardly not. I hope so. So the correct thing is, yes, that's a problem. I hope you get the help that you need. Making everybody else around you pat you on the head and say, yes, you are a woman. Yes, you are. Like I don't know if that's necessarily the help that they need. Y'all are using the term gender dysphoria. Okay, that's the medical term for the condition that I described. Okay, I don't know if that's I don't know if patting them on the head and saying, yes, you are a woman, I don't know if doing that is the help that they need. But hopefully they find whatever necessary help they need. I accept it as an actual condition. The only area where I draw a line is when they try to argue. When they try to argue that I or any man, when they try to argue that a man should see no difference, and somebody super chatted of something. somebody posted something in my chat room and was talking about how bad this dating market is all messed up and flipped upside down and blah 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 blah, and that's why men are going to passport and going to women of other cultures. He said sex robot. And then somebody he threw out there trans women. That's like no, nigga. Nigga. And yeah, Jackie, I do draw the line at the kids. Don't try to be messing with kids and trying to say a kid can choose what they want to, no, get the fuck out of here with that. Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. 100% on that. I leave the kids alone, and then don't try to even smuggle in the notion or idea that just because she due to her gender dysphoria, feels in her mind, believes 100% in her mind, and all of her biochemical reactions is telling her that he's a woman, that now I should accept a man should accept a biological male where every single molecule in that person's body is male. Those are man hands, those are man shoulders, those are man feet, those are man kneecaps. All of that shit is man. And when you really take away all the lingo, all the rhetoric, what we're really talking about, when somebody say, is there a such thing as a trans man? Okay, getting the terms right. A trans man is a biologically born woman who, due to her gender dysphoria, believes that she's a man. So there's and that's a trans man. So a woman presenting as a man, that's a trans man. A trans woman is literally just a woman, a man presenting as a woman. So let's make this absolutely very clear that the only difference between this is how I analyze it. The only difference between a gay dude and a trans woman is the gay dude presents as a man and likes men. The trans woman is just a gay dude who also likes men, but puts on a dress and a wig. That's the only difference. They don't. The hell you mean peace to the echo chamber that I allow you to come up and give pushback in? Anyway, shout out to AC Star or Blackground TV, but that's really the only difference. That's really the only true difference, because most of them don't get the surgery. So the only difference between a gay man and a trans woman is gay man is just a gay dude who likes the gay dude. The gay man is just a dude that like dudes. A trans woman is a dude that like dudes. He just put on a dress and a wig while doing it. No surgery the majority of the time. That's the only difference. So when he say a surgically altered man, like that is accurate. Even if we still man their arguments, we still arrive at that conclusion. And yes, Ariam, I see what you said down there. You said Bernard love the kids. Absolutely. I do care about the kids. I do. I ain't gonna lie.
My conversation might have been different. My analysis might have been different. My critique might have been different. My insight might have been different. You want to bring a surgically altered male to the conversation? No worries, because intellectually, nobody can handle me. So if you want to bring
the issue isn't that they brought a surgically altered man and whether or not that surgically altered man could handle you. The issue is that you called her a beautiful woman or called him a beautiful woman. That's the only issue, Umar. That's where they got you. That's where they got you. But in his defense, the first time I watched it, it didn't jump right off the page at me either. It didn't. I ain't gonna lie. So that's why I don't got that much criticism. But let me I got criticism because you just can't be going around calling. That's what you get. Like that's what you get for calling every woman beautiful. That's what you get for calling them all beautiful black queens. That's what you get for that. For just for just arbitrarily doing that. Them chickens came home to roost when they all queens. They all beautiful black women. They all beautiful. And then now, when there's no threshold to be called a beautiful black woman, when there's no bar to leap over to be called a beautiful black woman, then yeah, a dude could show up in a wig. A dude could show up in a wig and a dress, present as a woman, and if you don't catch it, then you calling him a beautiful black woman because they all beautiful black women, right? So he can just walk in a room and present as a woman. And if you say all the beautiful black women in here, they all beautiful. Even the ones that ain't women just presenting as women. That's what you get for just calling them all beautiful black women with no benchmark, no requirement, no standard, no nothing. You're black and you're a woman. You're beautiful. You're a beautiful queen. Like that. Yeah. So that's what you get for that.
Surgically altered male, no disrespect. But don't you think you have a right to tell me? Do your guests have a right to be informed? You know, that's all I'm saying. Don't have me thinking I'm talking to a woman. Don't have me thinking I'm talking to a woman. Don't have me think I'm talking to a woman.
Now, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that they have a obligation, a moral obligation in some way, shape, or form to where they have to inform you if they say they're going to be a panel discussion between men and women? Do they have to tell him that there's a, as he called it, a surgically altered man? Do they have to tell him that? Is that I mean, it's public information, but do they have to tell him that? And I find it's a little bit of irony that he's carrying around. I mean, he's talking about a dude that cut his balls off, and he's carrying a basketball while having a conversation. That just that
Surgically altered.
I don't know if that's just a bit of irony that he's carrying a ball while talking about somebody that cut their balls off. I'm just an observation. I don't know, but no, seriously, what y'all think? Do y'all think they got obligation to tell? Or they just could tell him, hey, it's just going to be a panel discussion between black men and black women? I'm divided on that, whether or not they have to tell. I'm actually divided on that. Yeah, he walking around with. There's no reason why that basketball should be in his hand during this discussion. I don't know, I'm a little divided on that, whether or not they're required to tell. Yeah, F Holiday. Keep calling them queens and you'll run into a drag. All right, yeah, yeah, it's true. True. Like Jackie Jack is saying, yes, tell me. Yes, I do want to be told. I'm talking about, I'm almost making a legal argument. They legal. I would want them to tell me, but the question is, do they have to? Should they be required to? Should they be required to tell somebody? I guess that's a different question. Yeah, they should tell them. They should tell them. But I'm just asking, should they be required to? But I do think they should. It's a separate question that run into. I'm talking. I'm speaking borderline legally, and so I don't know, but yeah. All right, moving along. Shout out to the super chat. Shout out to everybody supporting the stream. Do appreciate each and every one of you. Good old RBR in the building says society's disdain for black men. You aren't doing anything coming for black men. How about come for the people trying to destroy us? Well, Mr. RBR, one could argue that, and I've heard some pro blackity blacks argue this actually. They were saying they tried to destroy us with drugs, and they with the war on, the crack era, all those drugs and all that, flooding drugs to the black community. They tried to destroy us with that. They tried to destroy us with various forms of diseases. Putting AIDS in the black community. They tried to destroy us with that. They tried to destroy us in a number of ways. And this person said that they think they got the final checkmate. Oh no, they tried to destroy us by separating the black family. And the black man, with the black man and the black woman, they still, even though they weren't families, they still reproduced. Now they have now they have the final checkmate. I heard a pro blackity black, we black y'all person say this. Now they may have the final checkmate if they can convince the men to not reproduce with the women. If they can convince the men to like men and the women to like women. So, Mr. RBR, when you say the society's disdain black men, you aren't doing anything coming for black men. How about come for the people that are trying to destroy us? Wouldn't you argue? Wouldn't you agree, given all your conspiracy theory shit, that is also an attempt to destroy us by trying to put the men in dresses and get the men to like men? Wouldn't you think wouldn't you also think that's an attempt to destroy us, RBR? I want your answer, RBR. Just like for real. You know, I don't get tinfoil hat conspiracy theory about that. You know, I think there's a percentage of people. It's from the beginning of mankind. There's always been a percentage of people that were gay. There's always been a percentage of people that were gay. I think it's been that way more or less from the beginning of time. How many people are walking around out and out proud gay is based on how much the society is open-minded and welcoming about it. That's my view on it. So I don't think it's a tinfoil hat conspiracy thing to try to delete the black race. I mean, if they wanted us gone, they could have us gone. So I don't. But some people of your like-mindedness thinks that this is the ultimate checkmate that they're trying to do to destroy us. So there's that, RBR. Put your tinfoil hat on about that, RBR. Shout out to everybody supporting. I think I saw 350 people in here and only 144 on the likes. That must mean either I got a lot of hate watchers or some lazy Negroes who don't want to exercise the muscles in your thumb or index finger to hit the goddamn like button, as X says. Cause yes, hit the like button. Umar, stay pandering to black women's. That's how he got food. Yes, I agree. That's really my point in that. That's really my point in that when you pander to them and you calling them all queens, eventually you're going to run into that problem or other problems. Or, you're going to call an actual woman a queen, a black queen, a beautiful black queen, and she's going to spit in your face. Hell, Cynthia G was spitting in his face while getting called a beautiful black queen. Like, come on. I think he called her Queen Cynthia in this video. Like goddamn. But anyway, F Holiday in the building. He says the basketball is like the one in Space Jam with talent inside. He's got the masculinity in that one. He's trying to reclaim it. Good one. All right, let's roll some more of this video. And I do want to. We're gonna play a little bit more of this, and we're gonna get to her response. Her response is just pretty wild out.
Have me think I'm talking to a woman and I'm having a conversation with a surgically altered male. That's all. No disrespect. Just let me know. Hope Gazelle, I ain't got nothing against you, bruh. Hope Gazelle, I ain't got nothing against you, bruh.
Umar funny though. Like that's some funny shit. I ain't got nothing against you, bruh. That's funny. That's legitimately funny.
Hope Gazelle, I ain't got nothing against you, bruh. I'm simply saying I had a right to know. That's all. I'm not going to disrespect you. I have no interest in disrespecting you. I'm just saying I had a right to know that you were a surgically altered male. That's all. And as far as Cynthia, I'm not even going to speak on her. All I'm going to say is this. I hope my sister gets some deep spiritual therapy because she was hurt by a black man in her life. I hope my sister gets some deep spiritual therapy because she was hurt by somebody, and a black man hurt Sister Cynthia real bad. And I love my sister. Cynthia. Cynthia, I'm not going to say nothing against you. Yes, you were mean and nasty, condescending and rude. You hate black men, but I love you anyway because you are still a beautiful African queen. Do you hear me?
There it is. Okay, I wanted to watch just to make sure I wasn't tripping. Yeah, he did call her a beautiful African queen, even though she's looking whiter and whiter. She's looking. Some people say she bleached her skin. I don't believe that. That's just talking shit. I think it was good lighting. Like I can adjust my lighting and get darker or lighter, but but yeah. Anyway. So here's the deal. No, not there. Wait, what am I doing? My bad, yeah. My bad. Hold on. All right, here we go. Yeah. This was pretty wild out. Now, one thing it's a number of things I want y'all to remember with this. There's a number of things I want y'all to remember. To remember how she spoke when she was on the show. Remember how she spoke when she was on the show. How she did try to speak, or he did try to speak, you know, intelligently, TV professional, and blah 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 blah, and yada yada. But right now, it's just full of, grabbing shit out the air while talking. It's all that shit. Like, keep that in mind, because when I tell you, it's like the impression of a black woman is so strong with this one. Like, you see that all the time. You see them like clean up and get professional, and then go be ratchet and hood as fuck when they get out of said environment. And it's weird because you don't see that much. You don't see that as much. You don't see that as much with men. Normally, when men, get into those type of environments, they're normally actually like that or close to like that. They probably let go, let down a little bit when they get around their peeps a little, but but the act that women do is just so on. So it's like they'll get all, like, you don't see a dude going from speaking like Barack Obama to then sounding like Lil Wayne when he get off work. You don't see that, but with them, you see them going from speaking like Kamala Harris to, and then sounding like Cardi B when they get off work. They do that. they do that. But anyway, it's something to that, and I don't think that's all the way necessarily a bad. Well, I mean, it's bad for it's bad for the black man that got to be around them when they get off work. But if that's what you actually are, but you clean it up for the corporate world, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's just an observation. But all right, before we get into watching this video, Weather in the Building, he says, they, who is this nebulous they? White people don't check for us nearly as much as we desperately want them to. We need to get over ourselves. I absolutely 100% agree. I absolutely 100% agree with when people say they in a nondescript boogeyman kind of way. I think that's a bunch of nonsense. I don't think that they're out to get us like that. I don't. But that's for a later show. That's for a later show. We'll get into that. But it says, I understand Umar's anger. Hope was making talking points of black men being weak, feckless and do nothings. Yeah. You're making arguments of black men being weak and abandoning their post as men, yet you're the one who cut your dick and balls off. Like you can't talk about black men not rising to the occasion of manhood when you literally abandoned being a man. Like that happened. But anyway, disregarding the fact that she was a black man. Yeah. Weather in the Building says, is that CD Lamb? Also, when will I get my wrench? Man, oh shit. I don't know. I actually thought about that. I've been thinking long and hard about whether or not you should get a wrench. See, my memory is bad and I forget why I take people wrench, and then sometimes they ask, hey man, I get my wrench back, and I give it back to them. And then once I give it back to them, they remind me immediately, oh, that's why he don't got a wrench. That's why I took his wrench. So, and that's happened before, and I suspect it will happen with you. I suspect, he said the people want it. Okay, you got Jackie Jack in your corner. Yes, I did take everybody's wrench at one point, but I think Dark Knight Mentality survived the wrench purge. I had too many wrenches and shit was getting wild and out of control, and I had no control over the chat room. People was all going after the show was over, blocking people from my channel and doing all kind of crazy stuff and handling their personal vendettas and all kind of shit. And it was people that gave wrenches 2 years ago that I hadn't seen in 2 years, but they still be active in the space. And I'm like, hold on, it was all kind of shit like that going on. So I did a wrench purge, but let's let's get back into this. I tried and I did the wrench purge. Part of it was random, and another part of it was I tried to give wrenches or leave with wrenches people who who I thought who was always here regularly, and I thought they actually, or people who actually moderated, and deleted stuff when I needed stuff. I don't know. It was no scientific process when I did the wrench purge, and so I probably just shouldn't have did it. But whenever I see any content creator get rid of a bunch of wrenches, it'd be controversy. So it's probably best to just not do it, or just don't give niggas wrenches to begin with. Giving wrenches is like, should have never gave you niggas money. It's like the Dave Chappelle thing. It's like people don't know how to act with wrenches. Somebody asked me something about the Thanos snap. BR, did the Thanos snap? Oh yeah, did the Thanos snap with wrenches? Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. This is hard to listen to.
Which is something that I think is a fundamental issue within our community, is the fact that we are so willing and ready to walk away from each other than to figure this shit out.
Like, that's why I say this shit is hard to look at and break down. It's like, okay, it's a part of it is just like he's like talking point, it's just like a barrage of talking points that just don't make sense when you average into the equation that you're talking about somebody who's trans. We would have to walk away from each other than figure this stuff out. You walked away from being a man, but then you're still talking community, come together. It's just a weird thing. But I want to get into the Umar shit. Let's go.
But what really burdens your grits and what really makes you upset, Dr. Umar, is that you sat there on that motherfucking live, that panel, for an hour and a half with commercial breaks and all of that shit, and your little dick was jumping. And every time I opened my intelligent mouth, bitch, your little dick got a little harder. And you were just so motherfucking enthralled with this black queen that was spitting this motherfucking knowledge. And even if you didn't agree with everything that I was saying.
When I tell you that the impression, I'm not even breaking down what she's saying. We'll get into that. The impression is spot on. The impression of a black woman is so spot on, down to the disrespect, down to the self-exalting, down to the calling him a bitch, down to making everything about sex, even though sex was never on the table. Down to the overall, just like he just made it just graunchy, like he he had a problem with her or him, and then it turned into you just mad because you can't have none of this fake pussy. Like, I mean, it's like it turned into the same shit. It literally went the same exact direction that these conversations go when you're talking to when you're talking to women. And somebody else made this point, and I forgot who made this point. Damn it, I can't remember who made the point. I can't remember who to shout out for this one, but it was a damn good point. That when you listen to Hope Gazelle speak, that's the name of the individual. When you listen to Hope Gazelle speak, what he sounds like is like just close your eyes and listen. It sounds just like some of the chicks that be in black YouTube behind avatars talking shit on panels. Sound just like them. So like that, don't that make you do a full James Harden step back on some of these conversations? Like, hold on. Hold the fuck on. It's like, Listen. If somebody's a 1-time, 2-time or so participant, hop on the panel behind the avatar, I'm good. I'm okay with it. I ain't tripping. But if you just the lifelong career avatar chicks coming up here, popping off, going on, like, no, nah. You can't be a lifelong career avatar chick female that deep into these conversations no more. Because I swear, Hope Gazelle, who's a biological male, is sounding just like them, snapping and popping off just like them. Like, so that it's like, ugh. See this one. See, there you go. See, you're reminding me why you don't need a wrench. Oh, Lapeef, aka Beard Simp. Why you calling Lapeef? You calling like JR from Lapeef a simp? See, I can't just give you. See, my moderators understand. Okay, never mind. Just go randomly attacking people for no reason. I don't like that. Don't be attacking other fellow content creators for no reason, unless they're somebody who you see me attack. All right. And the people that I attack are the people that I am convinced that they are diametrically opposed to everything that they're doing. People that are for everything that I'm against and against everything that I'm for. Those are the people that are for everything I'm against and against everything that I'm for. Those are the people that I will, have something to say about them. But just randomly going at people. But DJ Black Charm Music says, right, Bernard, these dudes been flirting with these avatars that could be fake men. I can firmly say I have never flirted with an avatar. Never. Never. Never flirted with an avatar. Never. But just listen to what's being said here and then just imagine it's a chick behind the avatar that hopped up on one of these panels.
And bitch, you was down for it. Even if you didn't agree with everything that I was saying, bitch, you was down for it. Because when it comes down to the women that you claim that you like, bitch, on that panel, I was her. It's giving skin. It was giving fresh face. It was giving no cleavage. It was giving, I'm not giving it to everybody. It was giving African kente cloth. It was giving all of the things. And bitch, I set it up that way for a reason. I didn't.
I be fucking up with the he, whatever the hell, is basically saying, she's basically saying, I know what you like. I know what you like, Umar. And I came looking like that on purpose. And I fooled your ass. You thought I was a woman and you wanted this Frankenstein pussy. You wanted like that's fucked up. That she's going that route. And he said it was giving masculine. You raise an interesting point. I don't even think you tried to raise this point, but I don't even think you tried to. She-Hulk smashing. It's funny that the beginning of the show, that's why Al Boogie said it was layers to that thumbnail. But that's why at the beginning of the show, when at the beginning of the show, it was about She-Hulk, and then in Meg the Stallion. The Meg the Stallion, a male horse, Meg the male horse, because a male horse is a stallion, and then a man, a trans woman. It was layers in that thumbnail. Where's the yeah? See, that was the thumbnail. It was a lot of layers in there. I really thought outside the box with that one. It was a lot of layers in the construction of this show. But but okay, this is a weird thing. When she's going off and snapping inside, when I said it's a perfect imitation of a black woman because the stuff that they do that make us call them masculine, it's funny that the trans woman has that perfect balance of it where it's not even like it's true that he's not even trying to be you know ultra feminine and dainty like that. That's what a lot of them do, where they'll get too dialed up. They'll get just ridiculously dialed up and then try to just overact womanly. But no, it's like she's acting exactly like them, exactly like them, to the point to where you almost want to say, he's still being masculine, but sort of like with sort of like when Tommy Sotomayor said that black women, they be looking like and acting like some sexy niggas. It's like that's what's going on. It's like a very weird thing, but the impression is spot on. The impression is spot on. Sound just like just like them chicks behind them avatars.
Go in and put on lashes or overdo my makeup. I barely brushed my motherfucking hair because I didn't want people to turn around and say, you can only fool us if you have all of that going on. You can only trick us if you have all of that going on. You can only be a woman if you have all of that going on. And it wasn't giving any of that. And you still sat there on the other end of that motherfucking screen, enthralled with my black, beautiful queen ass. And you did so on a public platform in front of everybody, and it's going to live forever, and you can never take it back because a whole bunch of motherfucking people have seen you call my trans ass a beautiful black queen on several occasions. And
that's damn near a check and mate that she got, that can't get walked back from. He can't walk back from that. It's like, yeah, body thug. It's like no take backs. It's like I don't take a lot of joy in that, but it's like got him. It's like now I ain't buying the bullshit where he's trying to sexualize it and say that, oh, and your dick was hard and you was enthralled and but the whole thing, how they start getting called Transformers and then Decepticons, he was deceived. He properly deceived. Like it is what it is. Umar got he got deceived. I don't think he was all on some turned on or aroused and stuff. Like she, I mean, like I said, she's doing a perfect impression of a black woman, just sexualizing everything. But so I don't think that was the case. But the deception aspect of it, the Decepticon aspect of it, you can't tell her you can't tell me wrong on that one. That it was pulled off well enough to where Umar sat there in a conversation going back and forth for an hour and didn't know. And most people, when they honest, they say they didn't instantly know. But here's the thing. It don't fucking matter. It don't matter how well you pull it off. It don't matter how well the impression is. You are still a biological male. That you can believe you're a woman in your mind and you can present as a woman. You're still a biological male. Like that part does not go away. That part does not go away. But far as Umar got him, it's like it's no getting around that. There's no getting around that.
And that's what you're really upset about. You could give less than a fuck about the fact that you were on a panel that you didn't know or that you didn't know. The only thing that you're pressed about is the fact that you couldn't censor yourself not to say how you truly felt about what you were sitting in front of. And that's why you're bothered. You're not bothered.
See, now this is a problem. This goes back to what I said. Umar called them all beautiful black queens and beautiful black women. And now what he's trying to say is that you couldn't censor it. Like you no. You are under the tent with black women and he called them all beautiful black women. So any woman under that tent would get called a beautiful black woman. And so he got called a beautiful black woman in that context. But he made in his mind, Umar was feeling her and wanted her and was trying to get a piece of it. Like that's where that's where he's taking it. And I ain't going there on that one. Umar fell victim to the problem of saying they all beautiful. You can't do that nowadays. You just can't. You never should have been saying they all beautiful. It should have been standards of what's beautiful and what's not beautiful. But when you just saying nowadays, especially when you're going in those Fox Soul places where every panel, not every panel, but most of those panels, when they talking about black relationships, there's 6 people on the panel. They always put a gay person on there. Or now they put a trans person on there, and they do all it. It's like when you in that environment, no, you just can't be throwing out those general compliments, because now they got your ass. Now they got your ass on tape telling as Umar Johnson's words, a surgically altered man. You're calling a surgically altered man a beautiful woman. And they got him, and he can't take that back. They got him, and he can't take that back. Black Wolf Inc. in the building says, wrench up Dark Knight mentality. Oh, Dark Knight mentality don't got a wrench? I thought you had one. I got you. Devin Mitchell in the building says, the ex-former critiqued black men, but wasn't man enough to be a man and take the critique black men receive. So she puts on a dress. It's easier being a black woman than a man. Shout out to you for that. And you're highlighting the biggest problem with the whole thing. You know, the ex-former critique black men, but wasn't man enough to be a man. It's like, yeah, that's the biggest flaw in all of that. JC the Conqueror in the building says this, she is goofy. Shout out to JC the Conqueror. I gotta make you your own special greeting where you be dropping something on it hard and heavy with the super chats. But the most I can do right now is drop a bomb on it. I know Umar left. When it come to this drop, I didn't make it for the Transformers, but I know Umar.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Yeah. Oh man, Emin Perry in the building. Shout out to you. He says he had surgery done on the attitude and got that black woman attitude surgically installed. Yeah, but it's funny how it was put away for the camera when that conversation was going on. So that's what I'm saying. The impression is perfect. You see them go on camera and they'll speak publicly and they'll do this and they'll do that. Then behind the scenes, yeah, even though they're a senator, they'll still do a headstand twerk. You know, it's or a governor or whatever that chick was. Yeah, no, she was a senator. But Golden Child in the building. You don't see black male politicians, being dope boy, putting on a suit and becoming a senator or governor and then go and be dope boys. Well, no, I'll take that back. There've been some Detroit, there's some. No, I can't say that. We got Kwame Kilpatrick and all kind of. Okay, anyway, all right. Golden Child 325. I forgot. Never mind that part. Okay, Golden Child 325. He says, with the combination of Passport Bros, SYSBM, and other men leaving the community. I don't know what you mean by leaving the community, because, like we say the LGBTQ community, but there's no place that they are. It's just a group of people. So you're still black. I don't define you've left the black community because you're dealing with a woman of a different race. That's to say that a black man's attachment to the community is 100% predicated on whether or not he's with a black woman. And I don't buy that. So I reject the premise on that. And other men leaving the community. I don't know what that means. I don't know how you leave the community. I don't know how you do that. You can say I don't identify with these ideas and this shit that they do, and I ain't with them niggas, and I understand that part, and I've done that, but I don't look at it like I've left the community. It just, I don't know. We can do a whole show on that. He says what you have left is black women, single mamas, and LGBTQ. Behold the future. And I do see what you're saying right there. And actually, I was talking about this with Pablo on Game Changers channel, because I said everybody who speaks on any issues in this space, they are trying to fix the culture, whether they admit it or not. And I was like, Pablo, you're trying to fix aspects of the culture by convincing you're trying to change the culture of black men by convincing them that they need to operate and move a certain way. They need to operate a certain way, move a certain way, and deal with women who are cultured a certain way, behave and conduct themselves a certain way. And the gentlemen that are willing to move in that direction will essentially sprout up and build their own community, their own culture. And those that want to adhere to aspects of that culture will come on with it. So it's like, but if you're trying to recruit people or just putting out your lighthouse, your shingle, for people to at least hear your ideas, to some degree, you are trying to convince people that your way of thinking is better for them. So if you're trying to convince black men that your way of thinking is better for them, then I do agree that you're trying to fix aspects of the culture in your own way. So everybody is essentially trying to do that. Everybody is essentially trying to do that. Yeah, it said the passport philosophy is spreading fast. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And I got no problem with that. And take no, like I listen. I've said it once. I said it before. I would like for there to be more functional, emphasis on functional, black families. Short of that happening, I would like to see black men move in a certain way to where they get certain outcomes in terms of in terms of families, or just in terms of just how they move in terms of their personal success and growth and in every area. And if one manifestation and result of that is that I mentioned Pablo, that they end up with families or no families, but if they end up with families and it's women from other cultures, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I would like to see black people figure it out and get it together. I would like to see that, because ethnic reputation, that is a real thing. Ethnic reputation is a real thing, and we are attached to some aspects of that. Even though we can disassociate from it personally, we are still attached to it. So when things are looking bad for black people, it does look bad for us. You can individually say I ain't with them niggas and I'm doing good, but overall, if black people are looking like the retarded can't get right kid in the country, then yes, that does look bad. That does look bad on all of us, whether we want to admit it or not. That's the reason everybody is stirring the pot of the culture in their own way when they put out this kind of content. Weather in the building says Jackie Jacks wants me to have a wrench. Are you saying Jackie Jack is wrong? Yeah. Who the fuck is Jackie Jack? No, I'm saying y'all know Jackie Jack, the homegirl. Yeah, I know she cool. But I'm offended. We'll put it like this. I was about to talk shit about Jackie just to poke fun at her, but I'm offended that you try to go with the tactic of trying to leverage a woman's opinion at me to get me to change my opinion. I'm offended. Because that's what you just did. Like, who the fuck you think you talking to? That you could weaponize a woman's opinion against me to get me to back down and change mine. I'm offended that you think that low of me. Look at that. Jackie Jacks want me to have a wrench. Are you saying she's wrong? Yeah, she's fucking wrong. As if big old me ain't gonna disagree with little old Jackie. The fuck? All right. Weather in the building again says, how about just functional families, period? Yes. But if there's a low concentration of functional families in one group that I share this, that I'm racially connected to, then yes, I can look at that as a problem. I could look at that as a problem that I would like to see fixed. But short of that being fixed, and those who are functional end up just assimilate. Those who are functional end up getting together and functioning well together, or those who are functional um, end up spreading out, assimilating into other groups, other neighborhoods, other pockets, other communities, or whatever. Like either way it go, I advocate for function. Put it like this: I advocate for function. You tried to tell him what? You tried to tell him what? Oh no, I'm going back looking at the comments. Hold on. He says, don't listen to Jackie. He says, whether I told you. He said Jackie Jack is a hell of a weapon though. She got two good weapons. I ain't gonna lie. She got two good weapons. He says, don't get Umar'd. We got Jackie back. Dr. Umar said she's 5'5" and thick in the thigh. He did not say that about Hope Gazelle. No, he didn't. If that happened, you need to send me evidence of that. You need to send me evidence of that. He said, whether you are by yourself, nigga. LOL, the stare down. Yeah. Yeah, the comment section got a little funny. Says, I tried to tell him you don't care if I'm wrong. Hell no. Yeah, that's a little game for y'all. I be real nice to Jackie, but I be mean to her at the same time. Be nice and mean at the same time. They like that shit. Anyway, JC the Conqueror in the building. Y'all said, dude, crying. Yo, listen, that's what's playing in the background. That's the show tomorrow. That's the show tomorrow. That's y'all can barely see it. Cause yeah, that's the show. That's Homeboy at the top of the screen on my TV behind me. That's Homeboy who was crying up there. His name is Ricky Williams, and we will be covering that tomorrow. But JC the Conqueror in the building says, y'all saw dude crying on cruise season. Yes. I will be covering that in Paul Game. I got a problem with the damn it. I didn't mean to time you out. I just meant to block it. But I do got a problem with people coming into the chat room and announcing other people covering stuff so people can leave my shit and go watch that shit. All right? Don't do that. I didn't mean to time you out though. I just meant to delete the comment, but I accidentally timed you out. And you can't untime somebody out. So you and time out for 5 minutes, Paul Game. It's your first time being timed out by me, and it was an accident. Don't be offended. All right, let's get back into the rest of this.
Bothered because of the fact, dog. You only bothered because now all them hoteps that follow you, when they want to get under your skin, now they gonna go back to that clip and be like, remember when you said this? Because the same man that has spent years of his platform talking about how you could clock one from a mile away and these men and these da-da-da-da-da, and if you don't understand the real essence of a woman and da-da-da-da-da, and I know, as a man, I know when I'm in the presence of a black queen, all of you men out there that's allowing yourself to be tricked is because you like that da-da-da-da-da, y'all are beta males. But you sat right.
Now, I don't know if Umar actually said that. But if he said that, then damn. I don't know if Umar actually said that. But yeah, all the Hotepians out there. All the Hotepians out there seeing that, knowing that it's like he won't be able to live that one down. He won't be able to live that one down. Yeah, Black Wolf, it's going to haunt him. It is going to haunt him. It is. JC the Conqueror got a hidden camera in Bernard's studio. Who the hell else caught that? What the hell? Man, y'all better quit talking about crazy shit. This damn she behind Umar right now. All right.
Right in front of me. You sat right in front of me. And Umar did not clock Hope after the fact. People who wanted to know how I was getting him together and wanted to know who the fuck I was did their research and told Umar.
She said Umar didn't clock Hope. She's talking about herself or himself in the third person. But the term clock, is that a thing? Is that a thing in the trans community? Where if you if you look at somebody and you figure out that they're trans, you've clocked them? Because she was saying, because she's saying Umar didn't clock her. Like like that's a thing. Like you was trying to yeah, the new gaydar. Like you trying to float under the radar, and if somebody spots you out, they clocked you. I clock you posing at a man at 3:15 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon. Like it's like I've clocked you. Judge Zilla said clock is old slang, is old New York slang. I didn't know that was a thing. I've heard of gaydar, but I didn't know people was getting clocked. You're like, Umar didn't clock me. I think that's some of their language.
I wasn't clocked. Let's be very clear about this. Not that it even matters. Let me take that off the table. Not that it.
Now the switch up right there was not that it even matters, is because they. It's like he realized that the whole point in it is to deceive. So if an overemphasis is put on the deception, then it's like you're basically saying, yeah, I'm not a woman, I'm a man, I'm masquerading as a woman, and I successfully deceived. It's like when they put an overemphasis on that, then it's like they're indirectly exposing the problem with what they're doing. They indirectly exposing the problem with what they're doing, and that's why he said, "Wait, let's not focus on that. Let's move on."
It even fucking matters.
No, it mattered.
Let me take that off. Let's be very clear.
It matters because you spent a lot of time talking about how you pulled off how you pulled off the hoax. The fact that pulling off the hoax was a victory lap is that's telling. That's telling of what it's about.
About this. Not that it even matters. Let me take that off the table. Not that it even fucking matters. Not that it even fucking matters. But in this instance, what I'm saying is that it's a problem because the same men that sit back and say shit like, oh, if you can't tell, if you da-da-da-da-da-da, I know a black woman when I see a black woman, none of these niggas could ever, trick me. I would never be gotten because these men, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and I bet without that wig and that makeup and da-da-da-da-da, all this other stuff, all of the things that you could say, you can't say. You can't say.
Like, do y'all or do y'all not, or do y'all not interpret that as no problem, Paul G at all, no problem at all. But do y'all or do y'all not interpret that as and this relates back to Ruckus Buck statement about deception leads to violence. Do y'all or do y'all not interpret what's being said there as him basically saying the goal is to deceive and end up in some type of sexual situation with a man without telling him? Like nothing in that, the whole energy of that didn't sound like that. yes, I'm a trans woman, biological male presenting as a woman. If I meet a gentleman that's interested in me, I'm going to tell him. Nothing in that came off that way. Everything in that came off as I'm a biological male presenting as a woman, and if I fool a man and he don't know any better, and we end up doing something, then it is what it is, and that leads me back to that point when they be marching for violence against black trans women because their murder rates, the rate that they get murdered is higher than other trans women, and I think it's because of that shit right there. Not that I'm advocating for violence, however, I think a lot of black trans women, when somebody failed to clock them and they find out the wrong way, they find out the hard way, pun intended, that this is a man, they got to fucking die. A little, for those of you that are younger, y'all may not know this, but my favorite singer, Teddy Pendergrass, him and Stevie Wonder, them like my two favorite. But my favorite singer, well, top two, Teddy Pendergrass, I'm divided. He got in 1982. He got paralyzed for the rest of his life. Never walked again. Y'all know the story of what happened that day that Teddy Pendergrass never walked again. When they came to the scene of that crime, the scene of the accident, when they came to the scene of that accident, he was in the car with a trans woman. That was what he got caught. He got an accident, got pulled away, got taken to the hospital, never walked again, paralyzed for the rest of his life. I believe it was in 1982 or 85. I don't know. It was in the somewhere between 82 and 85, somewhere in that time. Let's just go with 85. Let's just go with 85. Somewhere in that time. Somewhere in that time. So let's go with that. But he when they found him, that car accident, car tipped over, crashed into a tree, the whole works. It was a bad, nasty accident. What happened? They never reported exactly what happened. The only thing they know is that the person in that car with him was a trans woman. So use your imagination. Use your imagination. Teddy Pendergrass, he fucked up. He fucked up. He picked up a trans woman. He picked a surgically. Well, back then, them surgeries wasn't as accessible. Them surgeries wasn't as accessible back then. So he picked up what he thought was a woman. He was just sitting there driving and being cool with it. And then y'all know the routine. Y'all know the routine. You reach over, you rubbing the thigh while you're driving and all of that. And he fucked around and felt something he wasn't supposed to feel down there, and boom, he flipped that damn car over. Teddy Pendergrass damn near killed himself. Damn near killed himself. When he found out when he found out what was going on down there, like boom, he flipped that damn car over. He was like, I ain't going out like this. No, don't compare him to Eddie Murphy. Don't compare him to Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy got caught with a tranny and walked away on his own power. Teddy Pendergrass got caught with that tranny and never walked again. So he was like, the hell with this. Everybody in this car about to die. Now, they didn't report the story like that, but when I watched the documentary, I was like, y'all not connecting the dots about how this accident happened? Like, seriously. like for real. No. Nobody is truly telling the story of what happened. Saying Teddy was alone. No, it was a tranny in the car. I think. Oh wait, somebody else is saying somebody else was in. Oh wait, no, that's the same person. He says Ashley Bernard. Dr. J was in that van too during the accident. They didn't. I watched the documentary. It's on Netflix. They didn't say nothing about Man, I'm gone. What? Turquoise Irvin was in the van. Dude, you derailing. You're running interference for a train. Okay, anyway. All right. Weather in the building says, from the music onward throughout the culture, our people are fully pagan and deeply rooted in Babylonian practice. The trans embrace is an example. Fair enough. Fair enough. His wife, Turquoise Irvin, was in the van. Why did you say Dr. J? Teddy P was DN Dr. J. Okay, yeah, adding layers to the story that was unnecessary. Yeah, adding small details to the story. The main part of the story that we know that happened, the day he fucked up and picked up a trans woman, is the day he got into an accident that paralyzed him for the rest of his life. Like that, those are the only relevant facts. If somebody else was in the back seat, then okay, whatever. That part is irrelevant. Yes, that's the point. Thank you, Ease Beats. Teddy said, "I kill everybody in this bitch." That's what happened. All right, that's the part we going with. That's the part that the documentary didn't report on, but I'll report on it because I just watched that documentary on Netflix not too long ago. I'll report on that part. If there's some other details, then fine, fine. But all right, let's get through some more of this shit.
I'm not wearing wigs. I don't have on a face full of makeup. I'm not distracting you with my titties. I'm not distracting you with my cleavage. All that was on that screen was my big ass shoulders, my big ass head, and my big ass face. That was all that was on the screen, and you still missed it. And you had conversation, and you engaged, and I don't change my voice. The voice is the voice.
That whole the voice is the voice shit. Like I said, that arguing with avatars, you don't know who behind that avatar. I just say that. I'll say that and keep it moving. I'll say that and keep it moving. I'll say that and keep it moving. Boy. Not even close to getting him. Some women have hard features and voices. It could happen to anyone. Playing the trans card to win. Punt, like playing the metrosexual card on a straight man. Somebody doing a trans thing versus a dude being metrosexual, that's not the same. The equivalent, like, no. You're the equivalent to what she's doing or he's doing is a woman getting a boy's haircut and trying to present as a man. That's the equivalent. Dressing like a man, presenting like a man, boy's haircut. Yeah, that's the equivalent of that. A metrosexual dude is just a dude who's, who nails are a little too clean for my personal liking. I think it's just weird when dudes keep their nails just too clean. I just, who the hell has time to or even thinks to do that? But I don't know. Anyway, but but anyway, yeah, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. JC the Conqueror in the dudes in the building says, yeah, I saw a dude crying on cruise season. I think I read that one already. And yes, I will be covering that tomorrow. We'll be covering that tomorrow. From the music onward. Okay, I read that one as well. All right. So yeah, I've read everything. I just skipped Creation Muse. My bad. How about just functional families? Yep. Read that one too. All right. Let's go right there. Let's go. I'm double checking to see if I got Cash Apps. We are 8 contributors away from the goal. Shout out to everybody who's been contributing to the stream. Y'all are the heartbeat of the show. I do appreciate each and every one of you for supporting the stream, for keeping things. Hold on. What in the hell? Oh, okay. All right, yeah, no catch up on today so far, at least so far. But shout out to everybody who's supporting the stream. Do appreciate each and every one of you. There's people that have said black men don't support, and I've always said that is bullshit. You give the people what they want, they will certainly support you. And my channel is evidence of that. Y'all have always came through. hard and heavy. I do appreciate everybody. This is listener funded entertainment here. Listener funded entertainment here. Someday we I don't even think it need to be that, manosphere like or manosphere type shows having big studios backed by TV and all of that. All right, see, Weather, that's why you don't got a wrench right there. He doesn't came here. Okay, I'll go on and say what he said. He said, start begging for cash apps like Red Supreme. Shut the fuck up. One, Red Supreme is a real one. Shout out to Red Supreme. Shout out to Red Supreme. Red Supreme keeps it real. Red Supreme definitely keeps it real on a lot of shit. So don't come in here. Don't come in here dissing Red Supreme or saying nothing bad about Red Supreme. Secondly, because he covers such controversial issues, he don't have a super chat ability or button or whatever on his show. So the only way he can be funded is through the Cash App. And so it makes sense for him to prompt you all to cash back, because you don't got to prompt people to super chat, because people tend to like their name to be their comment to be a part of the show. It's pretty cool to be able to, post a comment or a question and then, get read on the show and your question become a part of the show. Like, that's cool. People like doing that, but it's not that same effect with a Cash App. So sometimes, if you want to get paid for your time, energy, effort, research, and all of that, like, hell, I sat through a fucking episode of She-Hulk so I can come and do a story and analysis to break down all the feminist propaganda and shit that they put in there. And report to y'all that her and Meg Thee Stallion was twerking together. Her and Meg Thee Stallion had a twerk off. I it take time, effort, energy to put this together. So the brothers do want to get paid for their time, work, effort, and energy. And those that don't have the super chat, they got to go out their way to really prompt y'all to Cash App. Then, God damn it, that's what they do. But overall, I've always said this: when you look the view to contributor or view to super chat ratio in the Black manosphere is higher than every other sector, because this is rare, unique content. Even though it's starting to grow and spread out, it's still rare and unique content. Yes, you can't get anywhere else, and people definitely show up hard and heavy handed to support it. So yeah, but Weather, you be on some bullshit. You be on some bullshit. And I think was that a super chat when he sent the bullshit? When he sent the bullshit, was it a super chat? Because even though I deleted it, it still count towards the total of the number of contributors, even if I deleted your shit. And Jackie Jack says, thanks for all you do. I'm still mad at the Weather tried to weaponize you against me. Jackie Jack said I should get a wrench. You telling her she wrong? Like I'm just going to yield to Jackie Jack. Like, hell you think this is? All right, back at it, y'all. We almost done with this.
And so you're sitting there and you're trying to figure out, how did this person deceive me? I didn't deceive you. I came and showed up as myself and you received it. I came and I showed up as myself and you received it as it was.
Yeah, I hear that. You like, I didn't deceive, you just received. Like, that's man, this shit is ridiculous, man. This shit is ridiculous. That violence against Black trans women, I'm just saying that if that deceive game get too strong and the dude find out too late in the game of what he really dealing with, don't be then talking about we need to don't then try to sell it as a hate crime against Black trans women. Don't call it a hate crime. Like LL said, don't call it a comeback. I'm like, don't call it a hate crime. Do not do that. But that's some funny shit. She said, I didn't deceive you. I didn't deceive, you received.
A beautiful Black woman sitting before you, because that's what it was. How I got to that point doesn't matter. But
yes, it does. That's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing that matters. What the hell are you talking about? Ease in the building with the $5 Cash App. Do appreciate you. Do appreciate you. Appreciate everybody coming through on the Cash App and or Super Chat. And do appreciate you. This is saying it do not matter. It don't matter. It don't matter how we got here. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man.
You know, the other thing that's interesting is that in those comments, a lot of people are saying things like, oh, you know, this is why we can't trust them. Why wouldn't you just?
All right. That's it right there. That's it right there. That's it right there. Thank you to everybody for supporting this stream, and particularly not Eve, Ease, EEZ, EEZ, EEZ. Thank you for supporting the stream via Cash App. Do appreciate you. Do appreciate you. Oh man. All right, the link is in the chat if anybody wants to come on up. As I wait for people to come on up, even though we talked a lot about Marvel and Hollywood and the bullshit that they're floating in there. This one I don't think is bullshit. A couple people covered this, how the Little Mermaid movie, not Chloe Bailey, but Chloe Bailey's sister. Chloe Bailey's younger sister is playing the Little Mermaid, and I think a lot of white people pissed about that. That they got a black chick playing Ariel, and when they dropped a trailer for it, it got like 1.2 million thumbs downs. 1.2 million dislikes, and I'm divided on that. I'm legit divided on that. I don't know exactly what to think about that one. Haley, I always forget her name. I forget the name of the one that don't do twerk videos and busset challenges for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, oh, and also very important. Coming up, it is the 15th right now. So coming up on the 19th, 4 days from now, there will be a meetup. We're loosely calling it Black Manosphere Meetup Detroit, but it's really a smaller thing that we're doing, just getting together. The guys just get together and meet up, network, chop it up, have some drinks. That's all that we mean for. If you're in the local Detroit area, as it says, there, hang out with Bernard Riley and a few fellow Black Manosphere bros at Barcade Detroit for drinks, for games and drinks, September 19th, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. No cover charge or fees. More info here. If you click right there what Ariam put in the chat room, it's at evite.me. You just go and click on it and it'll give you more details. If you're in the Detroit area and you would like to attend that event, we greatly appreciate you. Be happy to have you. Just a gathering, get together for Black Manosphere content creators in the Detroit area and their subscribers. Black Manosphere content creators and subscribers getting together, and yeah, that's more or less what we're doing. So come on through if you're in the area. Shout out to Silent Lamont. He says we can believe on fictional cartoon characters as long as they ain't black. By the way, why the fuck ain't they cast a purple actress to play Ursula? There are no purple people walking the earth. But if a character was white with a certain look and certain aesthetic, white with the red hair and green eyes or whatever, if that's what the character was, I understand them not wanting the character changed that much. Okay, put it like this: if they cast Superman and they cast a dude with blonde hair, a white dude with blonde hair, I would look at it and say that's not Superman. Like, under that argument. Now, I want them to do something like that so we can do a proper compare and contrast. Al Boogie said Wesley Snipes ain't purple. That's funny. But I want them to do that so we can get a proper compare and contrast. If they cast somebody, let's just say they get a redhead ginger to play Superman, would people go crazy? Would they have 1.2 million dislikes? But if they say no, a white guy with blonde hair or red hair ginger can play Superman. If they say that, then it's like, yeah, I can't. I can't go back and say that Haley Bailey can't play the Little Mermaid. I say that only a white guy with black hair, wavy hair, and the little swirl thing right there. That's the only people that can play Superman. That's kind of how I feel. But if they had a black dude play Bruce Wayne, I wouldn't think too much of that. But Superman has a certain defining look that's Superman, you know. And so if a character has a certain defining look, I think you do have to capture that look. I think you do got to capture the look. Like we always look at that. If when they make an X-Men movie and then and then you go and you see Hugh Jackman and you like, he kind of nailed it. I see it. That's Wolverine. That does matter. That does matter. Jay Freeman Blackman in the building says the Little Mermaid, they have done other. He says the Little Mermaid, then Space Dash or whatever, they have done other swaps and not gotten hate in the past. What are some other swaps that they did and didn't get hate in the past? What are they? Says, excuse me. Like you, I'm split on the subject that I don't care about. Excuse me. I'm split on the subject that I don't care about. I did hear they took the appeal of the mermaid chasing a man out of the program. Oh, see, that's the stuff I don't like more than them tweaking around with the race. That's the stuff I don't like more than them tweaking around with the race. Yeah, like if she wanted to be with a walking Earth man, and they took that out of there, then I don't like when they change that, those aspects of the story. They still got all the bestiality and Stockholm syndrome in Beauty and the Beast. They kept all that. You can't tell that story about Beauty and the Beast without getting rid of the bestiality and the Stockholm syndrome. You can't. But anyway, shout out to Jay Freeman Blackman in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you dropping a $20 super chat on it. Shout out to the wrenchless weather in the building. Says Little Mermaid is a Danish story. White. All right. And then there's the argument. That I saw somebody put out in the chat room. Can you somebody, let me make that. Yeah, that's a dude. Somebody called that gentleman an Uber. Somebody call that gentleman an Uber. Thank you. Call him an indefinite Uber. I'd appreciate it. I'm not talking about timing him out. I'm talking about call him an indefinite Uber. Okay? An indefinite Uber. Hold on. Where we at? Call him an indefinite Uber. Get him the hell up out of here. All right. There we go. Yeah, he gone. He gone. All right. All right. All right. All right. Jay Freeman, black man, says Disney princess was swapped. Disney princess was swapped. What do you mean? Was that relating to your previous super chat where you, hold on, let me double check. My bad. Yeah. I'm spacing out. He said that, and I don't even remember the Little Mermaid story, to tell you the truth. I just remember what she looked like. I don't remember the story. He said, I did hear they took the appeal of the mermaid chasing a man out of the program. So it was like she a princess. Yeah, she would have been a princess. So that what you mean when you say the Disney princess was swapped? Like she wasn't like the princess trying to find her a man. Prince Eric is still zaddy. Black men shouldn't use the term zaddy ever. That's let their term. Let black women. That's their term, and it's like a sexual pet name that they give white men. Let's let them have that and not join in and call white men zaddy under any context. But anyway, Prince Eric is still. All right, thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate that. Dane C in the building says they race swap when they do Broadway plays. Interesting. That Mac the Trucker says we got a SYSBM Spider-Man Miles Morales be happy. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they made Mary Jane at least biracial. That is, they made Mary Jane biracial. Wait, hold on, that ain't an SYSBM. So what are you talking about with the SYSC? I be late on some shit. What do you mean by SYSBM Spider-Man? It's like a black Spider-Man dude. That's what white Mary Jane. I don't know what you're talking about. Clarify. Game Dreamer in the building says no one has a problem with Samuel L. Jackson playing Nick Fury. Interesting. Fair point there. No, whether you would not have blocked that on site. You would not have blocked that on site. You would have let that ride. You would have let that ride, screenshot it, and took it to my enemies. That he's Hispanic and black. Whether you would not have, whether I remember why your ass was I've seen you in other people chat rooms talking shit about me. Yeah, you cool, but no, you ain't. Sorry, you're remaining wrenchless for the time being. God damn it. But all right, nobody's coming up, so y'all gonna make me either in the show or pull up something else that I had on the back burner of the show. Either gonna make me end it or pull up something else that I had on the back burner worth talking about. But I don't want to switch gears that much. I don't want to switch gears off of Umar and the nsGentlemen and She-Hulk and the feminist, propaganda that they infuse into that. Like I said earlier in the show, and yes, thanks for the Cash App ease. Like I said earlier in the show, all right, because like I said, I watch stuff so y'all won't have to. So I actually had to watch the first episode of She-Hulk, and the just with that, where she basically became the Hulk. They got into a car accident in there. They got into a car accident, and his blood got caught in her blood. It's funny, you can see Meg barely twerking in the corner. Her blood got caught in his blood. No, his blood got caught in her blood, and because they was related and something, blah blah blah, gamma radiation, blah blah blah, similar genome, blah blah blah, whatever the fuck. She turned into a Hulk. Okay, so because she turned into a Hulk, he was trying to train her on how to properly Hulk. He was trying to train her on that. Okay. He apparently didn't need training because he said it took him years to master controlling his anger so he doesn't turn into a Hulk and hurt people he care about. The whole premise of it is that she didn't need all of that training. Why? Because she's a woman and she has to manage her anger all the time in this main world where she's a lawyer and she goes to work and she has to hear less competent men explaining to her how to do her profession. She has to deal with all these microaggressions and all of these men doing things and catcalling. I have to manage my aggression and my anger all the time, so I'm better at it than you. So I don't have to worry about turning into a big green monster. I can walk around and survive in the world and still be a lawyer. And if I need to turn into a Hawk, I can just turn into it and then turn back out of it because I have to control my anger and emotions all the time because I'm not allowed to show emotion because I'll get called a bitchy woman. Like they went on that whole.
You can't forget that supposedly women have higher emotional intelligence than men, right? They know how to.
That was the point that they were making. While the She-Hulk can just turn right into a Hulk and have it already mastered more than Bruce Banner after 15 years of him being a Hulk. She already is exactly Mary Sueing her way right to where he's at. But they gave an explanation for it this time. It's because she's a woman and she has to control and manage her anger all the time in this world. So
I was watching Thor last night. Did you watch that movie yet?
Yep, I did.
I'm halfway done with it, but it's just interesting to me how they subtly put a couple of things in there. Like Valkyrie is head of New Asgard.
Well, no, they did that. They did that. That part was fair because they did that at the end of Endgame. At the end of Endgame, I think Thor's last conversation with her, he was telling her that.
But I mean, there were other people there. I mean, there were other people. There are other people in Asgard that could have took that role. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, true.
Then you have because I mean, it's been a while. I've been with school and not, but I used to know like some of the comics heavy. The She-Hulk is a very minor character in the grand scheme of things. They're probably just going to use her more or less into the Secret Wars. But for her to get a whole show is kind of interesting. Because she was back in the day, they just had her as, if you ever watched the Iron Man animated series, she was part of SWORD with like Captain Marvel and Spider-Woman, right? And like War Machine. So she wasn't like this huge character like how they're making her now, but it's just funny that how they have her twerking and stuff like that. It's kind of like
that's super cringy. That's super cringy. Her and Meg Thee Stallion twerking together. But no, I don't mind the idea of the character. I mean, the character exists. It's been in existence, so it's no problem that it exists. It's the propaganda that they smuggling into it. Like that's more so where I'm at with it. It's like a feminist woman empowerment show with where she's a lawyer, making it in man world while having this special incredible Hulk ability while also twerking with Meg Thee Stallion. It's like that's the goofiness in it. All right, that for me. Going back to what you were saying about Thor. It wasn't that Valkyrie was like the king of Asgard. Earlier in the show I said Ragnarok when I meant Asgard. Not that she's
Ragnarok destroyed Asgard. Was the Ragnarok is like it's the Viking Armageddon.
Yeah, I got it wrong. I meant to say I'm just correcting myself from earlier in the show. But yeah, it wasn't. So it wasn't that she's like the king or queen or whatever of that. It's they smuggled in, and you can probably correct me if I'm wrong. They just like they made her gay out of nowhere. Like you did catch that.
Absolutely.
In the movie, right?
I mean, I get it. It kind of makes sense, but then at the same time, for example, Lady Sif, right? People used to fawn over her, in terms of other Vikings or other Asgardians or whatever, But it's just weird to me how they put, like, for example. I haven't been watching comics lately. I've just been doing my own thing. I've been in other stuff, but I heard something about Superman's son is gay and or LGBTQ. I don't know. And I'm like, yo, bro, what does it have to do with like the storyline?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's getting weird, but there's apparently behind the scenes a gay department at Disney, and they literally said they have a not so secret gay agenda where they try to plug in as much randomly placed gay stuff as they can. So in the movie Thor, out of all the protagonists, it was Thor's girlfriend that was played by Natalie Portman that I can't remember.
Jane Foster.
Yeah, that's her name in the show. Jane
and that's
Foster.
another thing too. Look how she was worthy automatically.
We'll get into that. But it was so Jane Foster, Thor, the Rock dude that was I think. I forgot when him and Thor got cool, but
Corgi.
I can't think of his name.
That was during
when he was on Ragnarok. Yeah, he met him on Ragnarok.
Yeah,
and apparently he's essentially gay. apparently he was gay too, and he had 2 dads. And he was like, yeah, my 2 dads, blah, blah, blah. So he had 2 dads that created him and made him gay. And maybe it's something weird with their species where they're all probably like an all male species. Who the hell knows? But either way, so it's like they smuggled in this character and made him gay, you know, on like the 3rd movie that he's been in with them. No, this is he's been in 2 movies. He was in Ragnarok and he was in Endgame. And now in the Thor,
somebody said
Love
Billy
and-
Porter as Omega Red. That's funny.
So anyway, all I'm saying is Valkyrie, the Rock Dude, Thor, and Jane Fonda, the 4 main protagonists in the show. 2 of them was gay, and those 2 that were gay, they weren't gay previous to that movie. So it's like it's a obvious just splashing in of it. That's all I'm saying is that's just where it gets weird. That's just where it gets weird. And so yeah, that was sort of the problem with that. But another problem with just the overall writing of the story is that how the hell do they logically justify her being able to wield Mjolnir?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That made no sense.
There's only like 3 people in the world that can really even maybe including Thor, it'd be like Captain America and the Hulk that can actually pull up Mjolnir. That's wild to me. No, he has been able to. He did it, but
in the comics.
There was this VA, but this came out on I think either DVD or VHS of like the Ultimate Avengers, and he picked what happened after they had to all the Avengers were out trying to fight the Chitauri, right? And eventually they saw that they couldn't defeat them, and Bruce Banner was watching them, and he told Betty to let him out. And then he eventually got out, and then they were able to turn the tide of their war against the Chitauri. But then what happened is he couldn't control his anger. The irony we talk about him being able to control his anger, right? He got so, when him more angrier he gets, the more powerful he gets. So he kept getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And then eventually he pulled up Mjolnir. But it took him a minute. But he swung it at Thor and swung it flying. But he could only pick it up through brute strength, not because he's chosen or he's worthy. He could pick it up through just brute strength.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as far as the movie timeline of the MCU, only Thor and Captain America were able to lift it off the strengths that they were worthy of it, and we know what Captain America did to become worthy of it. We understand who and what Captain America is and how and why he's worthy, and Thor is a god. So there's that.
Somebody said, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just said that it was the Ultimate Avengers on DVD. I just said that. I remember that when I was a kid. Like, come on now.
So given what Thor's a god and Captain America is, Captain America, we understand why he's worthy, being the saint that he is. What made her worthy other than, she fucked Thor before. Like, that was like, it's like the story on how they did it. I compared it to how they just retrofitted the story in the Matrix to make Trinity the one. They went back and added an element that wasn't there to just arbitrarily make a woman the one, and they just went back and added an element that wasn't there to arbitrarily make a woman able to wield Thor's hammer. It's like it was that's where the writing just gets stupid.
And it's like she's such a Mary Sue. Like, she don't have no kind of weakness. I mean, other than the fact that she has cancer, but it's not like she didn't have to go through with the quote unquote hero's journey. If you ever looked up that in terms of
that's true.
She didn't like that's what irritates people a lot. That's what makes the difference between a Sigourney Weaver and I forgot the lady. Is it the same lady from Alien? It's Sigourney Weaver from Alien.
That's Sigourney Weaver from Alien.
Yes, and the other lady, she was in a couple movies too. I forgot her name.
Name the movie.
But damn, I think she was in the Super. Oh, I'm thinking Terminator. Like, people, that's what people was so.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
People are so fond of her as a character because there's a hero's journey. It's not like she was just beating up everybody, and she wasn't a weakling
Sarah
either.
Connor.
Yeah, Sarah
Connor
Connor.
started up. Sarah
I was thinking
Connor.
about the actor's name.
I'm trying to think of the actor's name, but the character is Sarah
Yeah.
Connor, and yeah, she did start off in Terminator 1 as a damsel in distress, and she went
Yeah.
through a lot and got a vision of the future, and then gradually and became Linda Hamilton. Thank you,
Exactly.
Mark Johnson.
People, and that's what people
she gradually became the badass that she was in Terminator 2. So her being a badass in any other iteration that they put her in of Terminator, it makes sense, even though the new Terminator movies don't make sense. But it was a hero's journey that led her to badassery. So we get it. Like that makes sense. So no.
And it's funny somebody mentioned Captain. I think they're talking about Janeway. They're talking about Star Trek. The one with 7 and 9. I think they're talking about that. I don't know if you're a Trekkie fan. My mom's a Trekkie fan. So
I got it.
I've kind of been blessed in. Like I was forced to watch all of it when I was growing up. But that's another person too, Captain Janeway of Star Trek, and like that Star Trek series is based off of them being lost in space, and they had to traverse the universe. Right? It wasn't like they had a Starfleet command they can go back and forth to like in Star Trek Generations. So like everybody respected her back, especially back then. It's funny, I never thought of her as different from Spock or Kurt or from Captain Picard, because she held her own. She was still a competent leader, you know.
Hold on, Irem, are you saying Cersei as in like Cersei Lannister? Oh my goodness, that was I used to watch that Terminator TV series. That I might go back and finish watching it, but I did not know that was Cersei Lannister.
I ain't gonna lie, Cersei was sexy as hell.
Nah, not. She had her moments.
It was between Cersei and Daenerys. I don't know. she was a bitch, but she was sexy. That's what I'll be telling my mom. I was like, I always remember 7 and 9 because to me 7 and 9 was sexy as hell as it growing up. You don't know Star Trek.
Yeah. I don't. I'm gonna watch. I tried to watch the old ones with Captain Kirk, and they just moved too slow to modern day attention span. I just couldn't handle it, so I had to go. So and I think I'm going to just start with Next Generation and watch it. Make sure I watch Next Generation.
It depends on what you watch, though. It depends because I like, to be honest with you, I like the one with Spock and Bones and stuff like that more than I like the one that my mom grew up in, which is the 80s. The Star Trek, is it Generations with Jodie and see. I'm
gonna start with the one with Picard. I mean, I'm not a Trekkie. I don't watch Star Trek. I never got into it, but I do want to get into it. So I'm gonna start with Next Generation. But no, I did watch that Terminator TV series, and I had no idea at all that was Cersei from Game of Thrones. So
I apologize to all the Trekkie fans and the thing. It's been I haven't watched it seriously in like a minute in terms of Star Trek. My mom watches it like heavy, like religiously. Like she grew up on it. Since she come home, she watches it. It's crazy. I'm more of a Game of Thrones kind of dude, and even then, like it hasn't been on since 2019. But I just been watching House of Dragons. I think. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I watched Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Did you finish?
And I'm watching the new one. I'm watching the new one right now.
Did you finish the first one? Did you? No, not yet. The first series.
You mean the first Game of Thrones season 1 through 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched all of it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, good. What do you think about the new one?
It's moving along. It's doing what it do. I mean, I won't say it's excellent. It's great, but it's good. I mean, that last one got a little creepy, a little. Okay,
but that's the thing.
It was incest in the opening episode of the first one, but something was a little creepier and a little nastier about this incest.
Let me tell you something.
It was age hold on. It was age inappropriate incest in this one. Like that was weirder. Like that was like, damn. I mean, I know we talking about a time before time and shit, but damn.
I'm dead. He's like,
all
right. It's funny that you mentioned that. The Targaryen started out through incest, because Aegon the Conqueror, his two
That's
wives
that's
was
how
his
they
sisters.
that's how they keep all that white blonde hair in the
And
family.
that's low key why they start going mad too. The funny thing is the Viserys, which is Rhaenyra's father. Viserys is the one that's on the throne right now. His I believe either his father or his father was married to his sister. So his brother is actually his cousin, and so Daemon, which is Daemon Targaryen, that's actually his brother and his cousin. Yeah, they always, every other generation, they always if one of the Targaryens have like 5 kids, one of those kids are gonna whoever's on the throne, if the person has a brother and both of them have like 3 children each on both sides, one of the kids are gonna marry into the other. And it's for traditional reasons, and that's why they go mad too, you know.
Yeah, and that's I don't want to tell too much of it, but the character, you know who I'm talking about. The people that watching know what I'm talking about. The last episode ended with them handing her something, telling her to drink it, and they
that was the plan B juice.
they'll get they basically saying this will get rid of something unwanted. They basically just told her to drink it, but so it is a question of whether or not Rather is going to be a new Targaryen incest baby born, you know, coming up real soon. But I don't know. But all right, we got I think GS or G $sign in the building. A new person to the panel. Welcome aboard to the show. What's on your mind? What you got?
Yeah, G Money. Yeah.
Oh, G Money. All right, cool.
Yeah, how you doing, Bernard? How's everything?
Doing good.
Listening to you for a while. Just wanted to address a super chat that I dropped earlier under a different name.
Okay.
You stated that you didn't understand what I meant by the community changing. I just wanted to put that into a deeper context.
Okay.
What's going to happen eventually is that a lot of the functional, professional, thinking black men are just going to leave, and what you're going to see left over in the traditional black community is just single mothers, LGBTQ plus people, that sort of thing. So
yeah, to what degree do you think that's kind of already happening? Again, like I said, the term community got to be defined. If you're talking about leaving the community, as in leaving,
I'm talking about what you see as the traditional community. I mean, I don't have that much time because I'm at work, so I just wanted to hop on, just clarify that point. But I understand what your counterpoint was. I don't disagree with it, but what we see as a traditional community.
What do you mean by traditional community? You mean like what the community is, what it was, or what it used to be? Like
what present day states is the traditional community?
Okay, so you're saying what we see in the present day state that was ultimately going to end up happening is basically the more professional, forward thinking black men are just going to be leaving.
Yeah, brothers like you and me. And
okay. I would say on the panel. I would say that's already that's technically been the case, and that's really the problem with the black community is that we don't look at things in terms of class.
Unfortunately,
people who get their shit together always leave the neighborhood that they grew up in. And so unfortunately with black people, a lot of times when we leave that neighborhood, we end up sprinkled around. All the black people that got their head on straight, became successful, worked hard, did whatever they had to do to become successful. They end up sprinkled around and sprinkled around in other communities. And so that we don't get to see good upper middle class or good good middle class or upper middle class black communities. We don't get to see as much of that.
You have to do what you got to do. If there's ideologies that I don't agree with and that I don't adhere to, like I'm not going to stand in front of a store all day with my pants sagging trying to sell drugs. I don't want to be around that. And it doesn't make me a bad person to think that's the wrong way to live. So, and the funny thing is, the people that want to talk to us, they don't talk to those people about they should be better. They always want to talk to us about what we should be doing.
They want to talk to us about we're wrong for we're wrong for criticizing it. we're wrong
No,
for
just in
criticizing.
general, the way we live our lives, they want to talk to us. Like, for example, the whole Fox and Soul thing with Dr. Umar Johnson and that trans woman and Cynthia G. I don't feel they're talking to the Pookies and Ray-Rays. I think they're talking to us. You know, Pookies and Ray-Rays ain't listening to that. They're
Talking
doing
at
what
us,
they're doing.
right?
Yeah, they're doing what they're doing. They're out in the street hustling. They're not online and having these conversations. They don't care. You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
To your point, it's funny that you mentioned that. I'm guilty of that because I live in Brooklyn and I cannot wait to leave.
I'm from Brooklyn too.
Yeah, I live in Crown Heights, so you know how that is.
That's where I was born and raised. That's where I grew up.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the hell up out of Dodge, you know, and it has its perks and whatnot. It's not the worst. It's not like it's you know, speaking of other neighborhoods, it's not like it's South Central or something like that. But however, I'm of the point where once I hit that 6-figure mark or close to it, I'm out. I'm not even gonna look back. I know family members that are close to me, they want to stay, but I feel as though my talents are better elsewhere, you know.
But
when it comes
to South Beach,
yeah, man. Yeah, but I would say this in terms of community, even when, for example, you have places like PG County, it's more or less it's about the culture. It's really not about how much the amount of money that the demographic makes. Because when you have a place like PG County, I believe is filled with a lot of upperly mobile Black people, but they still have high crime rate.
Community,
yeah, but they still have a high crime rate. Why? My interpretation is that a lot of the younger people, the second or first generation people that are there, they have this thing where they have to feel like they have to be down, they have to be hood. I mean, look at T.I.'s son. It's like I would switch places with him in a heartbeat. He's such a clown to me. You know what I mean? It's like when you grow up in Brooklyn, and it's like, especially I went to
who's pushing that culture though?
You're right, but I'm just saying, like,
you know where it's coming from.
I mean, to be honest with you, and I don't want to be into the respectability politics. It don't matter where it comes from. Everybody got a mind of their own. Like, I've seen people sell drugs. I know people that have sold drugs. I know people that were into gangbanging and stuff like that. That never appealed to me. I don't know my mindset. I was never the type to follow any other people. And I'll be honest with you, growing up, I was kind of arrogant as hell. So the concept of following a gang never stood out to me because I always thought I was better than everybody else. So I'm just saying everybody's mindset is different. You know, you can be, when they say you be of the hood, but not from the, I mean, you could be from the hood, but not of the hood. I always had a different mindset or approach to certain things. So the whole thing when people say, oh, where does the mindset come from? I'm like, we all individuals at the end of the day. I think Black people are too sheepish. We're too easily influenced by everything.
Shout out to Eugene Thompson, says the original topic of the show, is there an attack on Black men? He's referring to the original show that Umar, Cynthia G, and the trans woman was on. And he says the answer is yes. And this reply by the trans is an example. Thank you. I do agree that. Yeah. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that. Charles Merchant in the building with the $10 cash app. He says for the product. Thank you very much for that. Do appreciate it.
But no, question to you. Why do you believe? I mean, I kind of get it. Sometimes it's like the escape from Alcatraz syndrome. But why do you believe when be the Black man or Black woman, they start to make something of themselves? Everybody doesn't just go to a designated area that's for affluent Black people. Why do you think they just scatter into like a skirmish?
Sometimes they do. I've seen that in some areas where they do that, but a lot of times you just just go looking for a house and you find one you like and you just, hey, I like
Stick
it, I
to
can
it, right?
afford it, I move in it, and you don't give that much thought to who are your neighbors going to be.
Mhm.
There's a place close by my house where it's looked like a nice, upper middle class black neighborhood. I grew up in, I guess I would say, a middle class black neighborhood where there's a lot of 2-parent households. But well, I mean, I was in a I've been in the hood. It was like, but I mean, by the time I was like 13, that's when things got stabler and more functional.
Mhm.
And I grew up in a middle class black neighborhood where it was mostly 2-parent households, and then so there are places where it happens. There are places where it happens, but too often it's not like that. Too often it's just a scattering mix of it, and so it creates the perception and a little bit the truth that there's no functioning black neighborhoods or functioning black communities, where as in reality they are. No. When I say middle class, I mean actual middle class. I mean,
That's
my
upperly affluent middle, because where
yeah,
they lived in New York, that's a nice area. Like, what was it?
yeah.
Was it Brooklyn or was it Queens?
I don't
But
remember, but to just respond to
I think it
January
was
man,
Brooklyn. I think it was
to
like
respond to
downtown Brooklyn
January
area.
man saying
yeah,
Bernard Cosby. Actually, no. It was like my stepdad was a construction worker, and my mom was like the housekeeping manager at a hotel. So it's
working
like
middle class.
it's like his 60K and her 40K probably made 100K. I don't know exactly what they was making, but I know about what those jobs make.
Mhm.
So it was probably something like that. He may have made 50 and she made 30, something like that. He may have made 60 and she made 35 or 40, so they was scraping around 6 figures. I'm just assuming. I don't, they never I was a kid. They never showed me the tax returns. I'm just making a calculation in my head. So that's
Well,
what I
Look,
that's
mean
80s
by,
money.
yeah,
That's
that's
80s
what I
and
mean.
money.
you know
Inflation.
what's funny? Looking back at it, I've been watching a lot of shows because I'm a millennial. I'm a younger millennial, and looking back at shows, I've been binge watching a lot of Malcolm in the Middle, right?
Hmm.
And it's funny growing up. I didn't realize like they were poor, like they were barely working middle class. They had 4 kids. They could barely like Malcolm, which is the main character. Like he went to Harvard because he was super smart, but in order to pay off his tuition, he had to be a janitor at Harvard, right? So, I think to myself that was almost like literally about 20 years ago, and I say even though they were, because in the shows they would make fun of the fact that like they could barely afford a hospital bill. So like if one of the kids got sick or if the husband Al got sick, like they would do every and anything they can possible before they take him to the hospital, because there was going to be a big ass hospital bill, right? But it made me think to myself, but even back then they tried to set a standard of still having the man in the house, even though he wasn't making this crazy amount of money, and he was like a salesman, and she worked like the graveyard shift or the second shift at a Rite Aid, right? Or like at a pharmacy.
Hmm.
But they weren't like balling out of control. So this whole, this goes back to this whole concept of a lot of black women saying that they want to have a subsidized lifestyle, or they want to have this lifestyle where white women, they assume every white woman is just chilling at home and they play tennis and they're a soccer mom at best. I mean, at worst, like they're just living in the lap of luxury. And it's like that show was almost about 20 years ago. I remember that as a kid. And she was working double shift. So she would work the afternoon shift and then get home in time to feed the kids,
Hmm.
And it just proved the point. It was like, I don't know what this whole concept, I think of course with Instagram, but
Well, yeah.
every black woman, especially the ones in my generation, 35 and down, they just feel as though they want to have this subsidized lifestyle that this mythical white woman is having. And it's like, that's not the case. A lot of white women for like the last 30 or 40 years have had to have work, and they still
Yeah.
played their role,
You see, and
Yeah.
here's the problem with that.
Mhm.
Someone like myself, I spent years in graduate school studying to get to where I'm at. And you're not just gonna come around in my life when I've tasted success and I'm accomplished, think I'm just gonna put you on a throne. You were not with me when I was pulling myself up from the bootstraps, so to speak. You know, I'm gonna vet you. I'm gonna study you. Make sure that you're someone that's loyal, someone that's worth being around. So that's the issue with that.
Yeah. Uneducated Lame in the building says 30, but 30, he's referring to 30 contributors contributing to the show today. I appreciate each and everybody who contributes to the stream. Appreciate you. Shout out to Charles Merchant who sent I'll get to that in a second. He sent the cash app and the super chat. I do appreciate that. Eugene Thompson in the building says I already read that one. I somehow skipped Uneducated Lame, but I read that one. And now Charles Merchant says I don't know why. I drunk too much coffee or something. He said, all right. He says, I never went into a gang as a kid because I saw their blatant incestuous hazing process. Oh, are you talking only hazing process? I know people get jumped into it.
Oh no, people get graped as well.
And to get into gangs?
Some of the women. Yeah.
Some of the women?
Yeah. Because you know that there are like female blood members, and Crip members.
Okay, so the women, if they want to get in, they gotta get got by a number of the male members.
Yeah. People don't know what's the game.
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah. He said incest, and then when you said they get I thought you was talking about some guy on guy shit that's going on in gang culture, and I was like, man, I was ready to check out. I'm done. But anyway, Christian Hutchinson in the building says the issue is middle class black people allow their ratchet nephews and nieces move in to use in order to. Oh wait, hold on.
You mean like the French?
They allow their ratchet nephews and nieces to move in to use in order to go to school. I see what you're saying. Basically, use the address. I think he meant move in to use the address in order to go to school, or their grandkids end up living with them because the kids' parents are losers. That ends up happening. That it
happens a lot.
It's not enough. Not a lot of degrees of separation to where it ends up bleeding over, so to speak. No, I definitely do get that and understand. Like I put it like this: I know this is a black chick I used to date. She was adopted. She was adopted by some white people, and she kind of talked white, but I don't know what it was. I don't know why it was, and I tried to get her to explain it. How she ended up still getting into a bunch of ratchet shit. She liked to go to the black club and hang out and she liked to be around nigga shit, and she had nigga shit results in her life.
You know what I
was like? I was trying to get her to explain it to me, but it was just and to sum it up, it was basically like the streets was calling her name. It's like she just,
like R. Kelly calling for you.
Hey guys, I'm gonna drop out, but thank you guys for having me on the panel.
Thanks. Yeah, and thanks for coming up and clarifying that super chat. I do appreciate you.
Speaking of that, I would love to probably do a synopsis on who has more social pressures in terms of trying to fit in or keeping it real, keep being a real nigga, like when keeping it real goes wrong, like who has more of a pressure? Is it black men or black women? Because quiet as it is kept, black women be code switching like a mofo, right? And we
saw a black trans woman who code switched on Fox Soul. Well, not that type of code switching. She code switched in how she talked. But then when she went on her own personal Instagram or Twitter or whatever that was, all the hood and ratchet came out. That's why I said she gave the best impression of a black woman ever.
Yeah,
bar none.
When they at the call center job, it's all prim and proper. When they talking to you, it's nigga, you ain't telling me to do this, you ain't telling me to do that. Whoop de whoop. But yeah, that's interesting. I was saying with the code switching, I wonder who we don't really call out. I mean, we're in the gynocracy, but we don't really call out the code switching that a lot of black women be doing. It's funny to me that's a form of cooning. Can't keep it 100, being yourself. We always get on brothers for quote unquote speaking the King's English. But
I don't think black women don't take as big of a hit for doing it because, like I said and like I explained before, a black man, well, put it like this: a black man, he can be ghetto or he could be hood or whatever. He's still viewed as masculine, but when he stop being hood and stop acting like that or stop talking like that, he gets viewed by black people as less strong, less masculine, less
About a Bravo Alpha Charlie dude.
yeah yeah. So but a woman who drops aspects of her hoodness and presents herself in a more demure, professional kind of way and start speaking well, as they say, yeah, she gains femininity with it. When a black man gets like that, he could lose some masculinity, at least in perception. And a black
Yeah.
woman in perception gains femininity when she act like that. So they don't take as big of a cultural social hit when acting like that. But that begs the question: why should anybody care about taking a hit from the hood who ain't going to help lift you up and do nothing for you? So why you care about taking a social hit with them? Why that shouldn't matter. But then when you extrapolate that and then to a kid coming up taking that, so a kid coming up taking that social hit, it does matter. So I think it does get kind of it does seep into the mind of a lot of black people when they're young, a lot of black men when they're young, that coming off as smart and intelligent is a social knock against you. It's like that's a messed up thing. So
I should tell you about this
bullshit.
interaction I had with Platinum.
Oh boy.
And I was talking about
shout out to Platt. Shout out to
Platinum. We're talking about reading books, and I would tell him like how white woman will, because I live in New York, a white woman will walk up to me and give me their number just off the fact that I was I know this sounds a little coonish, but or like weird to say, but it's like they'll get off the fact that I was reading the book or I was just chilling, I was doing my own thing, right? And he's like, none of these bitches want to see you talking about reading a book. He said, as soon as they see you reading Macbeth or something, he said, because I was mentioning like Shakespeare or something like that. And he's like, as soon as they see you reading Macbeth, they said he gonna be gone or something like that. He's like, they're gonna be out. But
for the type of chicks that Platinum mess with, that's probably true. I had that happen to me, man. I was about to hook up with a chick, and we was talking, and I guess I was using a lot of big words, and I think she had mentioned that I got a big vocabulary or some shit or something. This was a Mexican chick, by the way. And
she was like, who taught you niggas how to read, right?
no, she had just said something like, you use a lot of big words, and then I don't read half as much as I used to. I mean,
same.
back then I used to routinely sit down and just put my nose into it in a book and just read the whole book beginning to end. Right now, I just find shorter reads and ways to digest the information or look it up and find a short synopsis of certain things or briefer summary of something interesting to me instead of reading a whole 500-page book. I ain't gonna even lie, I don't do that. I don't really be doing that much anymore. I mean, the internet done made me lazy. Audiobooks done made me lazy. I done got lazy.
That's the same with me.
I can't front, but hold on. But back at the time, I was more of a reader at the time. So I did say that, what I do, I read I read a little bit. I like to read. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's where my big vocabulary or whatever comes from. And then it's like she instantly got turned off. It was weird. It was weird. Like we was on our way to her house, and then she just basically just hit me with a never mind and just got out the car and went in. Like it was weird. Like that happened. So I understand what Platt talking about, but again, this was some I don't want to say just some Mexican hood chick. I mean, I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know her all that well, truth be told. I mean, we didn't get to know each other that much. We was about to hook up, but then she changed.
You're using a lot of big words, Holmes.
I said some corny shit, and then she was turned off. So Platinum is not wrong with certain chicks, but my woman that I'm with now, yeah, she likes the corny vocabulary wordy shit that I say. She like it. So it depends on who you. It depends on the woman. I'll say that it depends on the woman.
It absolutely does. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I noticed like some people are like, oh, the less you say the better, but I'm like, I feel as though sometimes a lot of women be wanting like dumb dudes. Like they don't want you to be just. I don't know if it's an inferiority complex or what have you, but they rather you if you can grunt or oomph every now and then. Like you good to go. that
I think that it was a study. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was a study that showed something along the lines of even on dating apps, they say that you're more beneficial if you it's more beneficial to you to not even type out words all the way. If you could use any abbreviations, do it. You know how people spell words wrong on purpose. It's like, I hate when people do that, but
yeah. Well, at least
but
you're Gen
you know what I'm
X.
talking
You don't.
about when
Yeah.
people do that, like people it's kind of, it makes it shorter when you're typing, so you ain't typing out as much. They say it's better to do that. It's better to come off looking a little more ignorant.
See,
And that makes no
yeah.
sense to me. That makes no sense to me.
It's the signs of the times, the barbarians at the gate. But that's the thing too. You're lucky because as a Gen X person, it's different. Like I grew up watching like Seinfeld, Frasier, so like there'll be certain sarcastic stuff where it'll be like, "What?" I'd be like, "You don't know that?" Like they'd be like, "No." Like, I'm the master of my domain. I'll see something corny like that, and they're like, "What?" So it's hard, sometimes you a lot of Gen X references will go over a lot of people's heads, a lot of even a lot of millennial certain euphemisms will go over people's heads, and they're like, "What?" So yeah,
Yeah,
it is
no
what it
doubt,
is.
no doubt,
It is what it is.
no doubt. I don't even know if Theo wants that advertised right now because I know he can get swamped with students. But a lot of people always come in here asking me what's Theo's email address, and there it is. I don't know if he got openings. I don't know if he can do anything with you right now. But for
He was
those of
taking
you that are,
openings yesterday on
oh, he was.
Edstream.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. All right, cool. Thank you, RM, for dropping that. Yes, Theo has openings right now. I wasn't sure, but he has openings right now. So you gotta definitely go and sign that up.
definitely
Theo,
get into that, man.
as of this point, has put dozens of men got them. They either made it to, they either on their way or they have made it to where they're making, comfortably over 6 figures through his IT training. So I definitely highly recommend if you're looking for a career change to
I'm
definitely
about,
hit that email. Definitely hit that email. Talk to Theo. Definitely do that. Definitely do that.
I'm definitely. So you guys want to
Yes,
kill me?
yes,
It's like
Theo. Yes, we want to
you
kill you.
started.
We want to work you to death in the name of helping black men make more money.
Yeah,
Yes, we want to kill
black
you.
male autonomy, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of which, I got a big shout out to Theo because he exposed me to a lot of stuff, man. I'm gonna get back into his class, but I'm about to start interviews for another form of IT, which is dealing with like databases and whatnot. But yeah, man, it's funny. I'm even going harder now with a lot of my IT stuff. Because of Austin in a way, because I'm actually thinking about being an expat for like half the year. Like every year, go 6 months in a different country, right? I
Yeah.
just came back from Mexico Sunday, Monday, and it's like it's a totally different vibe when you come out of the country. I was just telling Ed, even when you hear a woman speak, you gotta kind of like listen in a little bit because it's so soft spoken and mild mannered. It's not even let's say, for example, I'm thinking hypothetical, the quote unquote most masculine of Hispanic or Mexican women in another country, there's still going to be mild mannered. There's no aggression or kind of a scowl or kind of like a little, like it's almost not like no kind of dick measuring contest that you got to deal with that I noticed. It's real laid back. A lot of the women in other countries, they laid back. They're not really on the aggressive type of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know personally. Only experience I had. I briefly, dated a woman from Germany. I mean, she met her here. She used to come here a lot for various reasons, and nothing happened. Nothing went on. We went out, a time or two. We were supposed to get back together, and then it didn't happen. And then there's a chick that I was messing with from Kenya for a long time, and I actually, partied with them and was around a lot of Kenyans, and they was cool. They was cool, but it was kind of some of the same shit. but it was different though. It was different. I'll say that.
There's always gonna be nuance, right? So
yeah.
I was gonna say this. Well, whether it said woman or woman, Azrael. Now here's the thing that the whole soft girl era refutes your point, because a woman or woman, wouldn't that mean they're just gonna be naturally feminine? If it took women, black women to like self-actualize, hold up, I'm being too masculine, I'm being too much of a man. That's something that you should naturally be. Like a man doesn't feel like, oh, he's feminine, and then it's almost like the whole soft girl era is like the female version of saying I'm not gay no more, I'm delivered. Like, you know what I mean? It's almost it's almost a similar thing. It's like, for real, it is if you think about it.
Yeah, no, and the irony is that dude's still gay as hell. So.
Yeah, it's like you're just not gonna stop 20, 25, 30 years of social programming just off of I'm gonna be my soft girl era. And it's like, no, that's more conditioning and you being proactive and being a feminine person. And when people say woman or woman, it's like in other countries, there are women that don't even have working toilets or working water, and they still have more femininity in their pinky than a woman that lives in a high rise that has an HR job.
I'll say this, and this was sort of put forth on my show by some brothers who were one from Portugal, which is like the cousin country of Brazil, and the other one was from Brazil. They were arguing that the women in Brazil are not that much different, and it's possibility that they act different for American men because American men are showing up with American dollars. But I it was a lot of nuance to that. There was a lot of nuance. So I think put it like this. I think there's a such thing as women being cultured different. Like when you say women are women, I do think it's a such thing as women growing up in a different culture and being cultured different. But there are aspects of female nature where it's going to manifest itself in a similar way. So I'm not in the camp of just saying women are women, they're all the same no matter what. I mean, obviously a Chinese woman born and raised in China is going to act different from a black woman born and raised in Chicago. You can't say that it's the same, but there's aspects of it. If you go in blindfolded if you go in with your eyes closed and your radar down, that Chinese woman may do some wrong shit to you. You never know.
I think that goes into saying with anybody. I mean,
yeah,
a short Chinese dude might finesse you over off of some money. I mean, you can get got by anybody, right? I'm talking about in terms of mannerisms and personality and disposition. Now, Blackground TV said plumbing doesn't determine if you're feminine or not. My point, you got to put it into context what I was saying, in the fact that I had this discussion with a quote unquote, it was one of the dating coaches on Instagram, and this whole thing of you have to set an environment for a woman to be feminine. It's not in quote unquote the whole concept of resting in their femininity. And I refuted the point because I'm saying there are women in other countries and other cultures where they barely have working sewer systems or decent plumbing, and yet they're still feminine or they acquiesce to their man. Or in America, you can have Jorge selling oranges or working looking for work at Home Depot, but when he gets home, Maria still acknowledges that he's the man, right? Meanwhile, they tell you work for UPS or you work for the post office, you don't make it. I need you to make six figures. 60K doesn't equate to me acquiescing to your manhood, right? So that was my point. That was basically my point, is that it doesn't matter. It's the person's disposition. You don't suddenly go from the slums of Palestine and then come to New York and then you're just automatically more masculine. It's like, no, you're either masculine person or not.
Yeah, I'll explain that. It's as simple as this. Even though like it's true that you do gotta cultivate an environment. And when black women talk about that, they talk about the whole damn community. They talking about black men as a whole building Wakanda. I'm talking about just an individual man dealing with an individual woman. There is a certain tone you got to set in a certain environment around you that's conducive for her to be comfortable. I get that part. This is where they get some this is where the bullshit comes in. The bullshit comes in is when they try to make it seem that the out of pocket don't know how to act woman, that if you just did A, B, C, and D, that woman she will automatically conform to you, as if women are just 100% mirrors and will react exactly. They're going to reciprocate whatever you do. You know, it's like I don't buy that. I think if a woman is really feeling you and she really like you and she's 100% made a decision to get on board with you, and she has a certain level of femininity and she naturally yields to masculinity once she chooses that masculinity, I think then in that situation, and I just put a lot of qualifiers in there, that woman will follow you. But what they use that for is like that's gaslighting black men 101, basically saying the problem that you identify in this woman, who you should charge to the game and just be done with her, the problem that you identify in her, no, it's not a problem in her, it's you. If you were A, B, C, or D, then she will act accordingly. So it's like, so you're basically saying men don't even have to be selective in who they choose then. If we follow that logic all the way home, if that's true, men don't have to choose right. They just have to be right. They could choose anything and she's going to conform to it. Are you saying that? So you're saying that I could just go pick a stripper? I could just throw,
and just based off my manhood, my alpha pixie dust. I just sprinkle on some alpha fairy dust, and she's automatically gonna be June Cleaver from Leave It to Beaver, right? Yeah.
You're basically saying I could throw a rock into a crowd of 300 women, and whichever one I hit, she's gonna be the perfect wife to me. Like, no. That's where they start gaslighting the hell out of men. So, but let me get to JC the Conqueror's super chat. Says, why do black men care what black women do if they married to another race? So if a black man is married to another race and he's talking a big deal about what black women are doing, I think the reason that they do that is largely in part because they're trying to they're not trying to SYS women. They're not trying to save themselves. They're trying to save other black men. So I think that's the reason why they talk so much about what's wrong in the community or what's wrong with how, you know, the whole culture of black women. They're trying to get other black men to examine them in their culture, and then look at these women of this other culture and say that is marginally or a marketably better life over there. And then someone will respond and say, no, you set the tone on what you are, and wherever you get that woman from, she's gonna conform to you. But then, you know,
it's a contradiction.
The passport side of it will say that, well, it's a more target rich environment over there versus going over here trying to work a situation right there. But to read the rest of what you're saying there, it says, yes, we know black women are goofy, but that all women for the most part, I think he's mean, but all women for the most part are. I already just talked about that. But he says, I feel like these black men really want Keisha. What are your thoughts, BR? No, I don't think that they really want Keisha, especially by Keisha, if you mean a hood chick, that's a hell no. They don't want Keisha. But I do think black men, when it comes to either relationships or just the overall social dynamics between black men and black women, it is important that black men speak their piece on it and say what they got to say. But I do understand if somebody is just completely checked out, I don't deal with black women at all, I understand the question of why they still talking about them so much. But if that person's response is, hey, I'm trying to educate other brothers on what's going on out here and why, you know, why the American black woman is a problem, and why how these other women over here are less of a problem. If he say that's his motivation in doing it, then I guess there's internal logic within that. But I don't think it's because they just want Keisha. No, because they want a hood chick. Like, no, I don't think that's the reason. I don't think that's the reason.
No.
But Theo Wife in the building. Go ahead.
No. You can finish reading the super chat, and then I'll say what I had to say.
All right. Theo Wife in the building says, I always use advanced nerdy vocab in my languages to get dates. The girls always loved seeing this Black American foreigner guy talk intelligently. and not all women are the same. No, stop that. Yeah, there are certain things that are similar among them, but I don't draw a hard line. They're all the same. I'll never draw a hard line. They're all the same. There's aspects of female nature that are the same, but culture is a strong thing. Culture is a very strong thing that can't be denied or overlooked. Eugene Thompson says there is a comic series with Jane Foster being the mighty Thor. They did not add the proper context in the movie. See, now I didn't know that, but either way it go, like that's really my point. It was the way that they made her into it. It just looked contrived and cobbled together in the most weird way possible.
Very,
That
very
was
Mary
really,
Sue-ish.
yeah, that was really my point. But
I wanted to
hold on real quick. Want to make sure I got everybody. Go ahead.
I wanted to say this to Blackground TV. It's like, no, when people say, oh, no, it's not the woman that you deal with. This is why Kevin was so influential and so relevant and so impactful. The man was dressed to the T, made sure everything was on point on his end. And still, he didn't even get the proper respect in terms of how the woman approached his platform, over talking him, coming up there with bonnets on, coming up there in like seductive, sultry garbs and stuff like that. They weren't even dressed like they were talking to somebody like that was almost as old as their father, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you think about it to yourself. He just proved the point. You know, people might give him backtrack and say, "Oh, about the whole of him dressing up and dressing to the nine." It's like there was a reason. I didn't always agree with everything, but there was a reason why he did that. It was like to make sure you quote unquote Teflon Don. Don't leave no stones unturned. Make sure that you're on point to the fact that they can't say anything about you. And if you look at it, look at the compare and contrast. He was dressed to the T there, and look at the level of respect that he had for himself and for his audience, and look at the amount of respect that the people that came onto his show had. And it's like coming up there with bonnets with I forgot what, like shower caps and shit on. It's like that just goes to show you it's not an individual thing, it's not an anecdotal thing. It's not, oh, that's how they deal with you. No, it's how they deal with black men in general. That's the level of respect that they have. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, Weather says just heal, guys. It's not that deep. Just heal. I have no idea what you're talking about.
He's talking about me. That's what he said, and he just put don't let the bonnet get you down. They think I'm hurt. I'm not hurt. I've dated, and the funny thing, I've dated black women from different cultures before. I've said it multiple times. I've dated a French woman from her parents are Cape Verdean. It's probably the most submissive woman and feminine woman I've ever dated in my life. Unfortunately, she had to go back to France, but she was in her country. She was a lawyer, right? And it was like I was a college student. Like I don't see that working the same way in America, where I would get that level of cooperation. Where I'm a college student, I'm working on my degree, and I'm just gonna have the full cooperation from a corporate lawyer black woman. That's not gonna happen, you know. And people are like, oh, who hurt you? It's like, no, I can tell you hypothetically that would never, that's not just gonna go, because it's gonna be like, oh, you're not on my level, I need you to make more money than me, or you're a college student, quote unquote, I'm not able to rest in my femininity, whoop-de-whoop. You know, I mean, it is what it is. Going back and forth for weather.
Right on. Shout out to Black Jack. That is his first time viewing my show. If you're new here, subscribe if you're new here. All the new people in the building, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the show. I do appreciate everybody coming here. Appreciate you coming in. Black Jack, you saying how much did you miss? We 3 hours in, so you missed a whole lot, homie. You missed a whole lot. But yeah, if you want to catch the main topic, go back to the show.
Oh, I want to make a recommendation, Bernard. I think good 2 videos you can do is on, actually they just had a new video out. I forgot what it was. Sarge just put it out too. Should black women still invest in black love? And that was on Fox Soul today. They just put it out. Let me see if I can find it.
What do they mean by invest in it?
I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. Give me 1 sec. It's in his community tab. Give me 1 sec.
Black women love
It's
black love when it's on their terms.
It's called Black News Today. She's like, should black women stop dating black men? It's Tammy Mac full episode. It's about 50 minutes long. And in the comments section, they were calling all the older women that were on the panel mammies, like girls that were my age. They were like, oh, these hopeless romantic mammies, these older women trying to sell us a dream, is trying to sell us down the river. It's wild. Is why I'd recommend you do a video on that.
Was Cynthia G on that? I think I may have saw that thumbnail. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I didn't watch it. I was doing a once over trying to see if they put a gay or trans person on every panel about black about black relationships. I was just trying to see how committed they were to doing that. So I just clicked on a few videos to check that, and I clicked on that one, and yeah, it said something along the lines: should black women stop dating black men? And Cynthia G was on the panel, so I could only imagine how ridiculous that got. But I probably won't read. Well, I can't promise I won't react to that. That
oh man, no, that's some good content. Somebody in the comments was like, if you can't find someone that doesn't meet your standards, the answer is not to settle or lower your standards. The answer is to accept happiness as a single person instead of a mediocre romance, and continue to cultivate your other relationships with friends and family. And said, imagine if any other woman even suggested that black women should be prepared to stay single. Those men would have been angry and scared. They always tell you to keep lowering your outrageous standards, like he should be able to hold down a job instead of trouble. It's like it's just wild. Like the extremism, is crazy.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna let you go, man.
Yeah. I was just at the point.
Blackground, if you want to come up and debate, I don't know.
Well, no, I'm about to wrap it up. Today, Blackground was on yesterday. He be all over the place. He be tripping, but he did ask a good question about Republican policies that benefit black men or something like that. And that is a fair path to take it down. Talking about black men who are more on the conservative side, who like me, are conservative lean, who are right of center, and will likely vote Republican. Talk about it from a policy standpoint, and the policy, black men are a man without a country when it comes to comes to politics. The Democratic Party ain't for us. If you're a full-blown Pookie, is something in there for you, but overall the Democratic Party,
they were the ones that pushed the crime bill. So I mean, I don't know how that's against that.
But I mean,
I like what you said though on GC. You were like, your rationale in terms of either being Democrat or Republican was, you cannot rationalize being with the party that enables the black woman's behavior, more or less.
Yeah. You're either voting with baby mamas and purple-haired feminists.
Yeah.
If you vote Democrat, or if you vote Republican, you're voting with some racist white man. Pick your poison. All right, yeah. But
I'm gonna
shout out to Rod of God. Yeah, peace. Shout out to Rod of God podcast in the building. He says, I always miss the fire shows. Yeah, this was a good one. But shout out to you, Rod of God. Thanks for coming on through. Thanks for dropping something on it. Thanks for contributing. Do greatly appreciate you and every brother who. Hold on. Whoa, hold on. Block on. I thought that said block somebody. Okay, no. Moderators, don't block anybody unless I tell you. Don't block anybody unless I tell you. All right. And Theo says, "Yep, I'm voting GOP this time." Yeah, we can't be sitting here. Oh yeah. Shout out to Nate. Nate, got to get Nate props. He be carrying. He's be definitely leading in that regard. But yeah, that's where we at. That's where we at. If we look at the reason why the manosphere came into existence, or the black manosphere came into existence, it's hard to not trace it back to the second wave of feminism and all of basically a bunch of movements that were essentially liberal movements, and then followed by and incorporated with policies that enabled and subsidized all those movements. That basically those movements ultimately are what created the worst, most unmarriageable women to ever walk the earth. And that's part of the reason why the manosphere came into existence. So I can't logically, I don't know how we could sit here and logically and intellectually justify voting with those women, thus voting for the policies that enable the thing that fucked up the environment and made the problem that made the manosphere come into existence. Now, I don't know how somebody could justify that. However, does happen to be a true statement. It does have to be a true statement that the other party, the Republican Party, have ultimately just said, the hell with it. We're not getting the black vote. They just ignore black people altogether. And it's not a whole lot in specific policy that could really that we could point to say that this is how the Republican Party is doing something for us. So when it comes to politics, a black man is a man without a country. It's just no other way around that. And it just that's where we're at. But I can't logically justify. I can't sit here as a manosphere content creator and vote in favor of the shit that is the reason that ultimately, when you trace it all back and go round robin full circle, is the reason why the manosphere even came to existence to begin with. I can't do that one. I'll vote. I'll write in Mickey Mouse on the ballot before I do that. Now, locally, there are, put it like this, locally, if there's something that's put forth by a Democrat that I think will benefit black men, then yeah, I'll vote for that. Yeah, I'll do that. There's some things that, that I may agree with Democrats more on, that I may, in locally, in the local election, I may say, hey, this is an important issue here. I'll vote this way on this particular issue. Yeah, that's a possible. That's that happens. I can't remember what it was, but I've done that. But anyway, come hear that real conservative commentary on Little Big Nate show, Nate Dogg 74. Absolutely, and he's close. He's close to 1,000 subs on his second channel. Close to 1,000 subs on his second channel. So don't forget to go and check out Little Big Nate. Don't forget to go check out Little Big Nate. Y'all should go subscribe to him, moderators. If you can, if you're quick enough with the trigger before I shut things down, drop Little Big Nate's channel in the chat room real quick. Because yeah, Little Big Nate, definitely extremely talented brother that has a lot to say. Extremely talented brother that has a lot to say. Make sure y'all go and check him out. I'm waiting. But all right, shout out to all the contributors, everybody who contributed to the show, everybody who supported the stream. Don't forget, oh yeah, we don't gotta wait for somebody else to do it. Little Big Nate did it. Don't forget also the loosely calling it Black Manosphere Meetup Detroit. Really just the Black Manosphere content creators and subscribers that's in the Detroit area getting together, meeting up, at the click that link. It'll tell you where, give you all the details. Just getting up, linking up, having some drinks, networking, the whole works right there, as it says right there. Hang out with Bernard Riley and a few fellow Black Manosphere bros at Barcade Detroit for games, drinks. On September 19th, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. No cover fees or charges. More info here. If you click evite.me, you'll get more details on that. If you're in the Detroit area, come through. But all right, y'all, with that said, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.